Starting you off at 79 degrees in downtown Baton Rouge. We're broadcasting live from the 180 Pro studio. Big announcement yesterday about the Raising Cane's River Center. Big announcements about the Raising Cane's River Center yesterday. A lot of potential. Ready to rock and roll, talk about it. We got a big show for you this morning. Jill Kidder from Visit Baton Rouge is going to join us at 7:15 to have that exact conversation, where are things headed. I know it's all going to depend on the Metro Council. We'll get around to that part a little bit later on. But we are stacked up, loaded, ready to roll. So let's get after it. Top stories and trending. Let's go. Starts us off with the Department of Children and Family Services. Soon going to be required to implement new changes to how the agency functions due to a state law that's set to go into effect January 1st. The new law requires a law enforcement liaison for the entire state to be housed within the department. Monday afternoon, there was a Senate Select Committee on Women and Children. Officials with DCFS explained that they've already begun to interact with the staff. Mayor Sid Edwards has asked the Metro Council to approve a plan for Visit Baton Rouge to serve as the interim manager for the Raising Cane's River Center while the city parish seeks a development partner for the venue's long-term renovation. Per the mayor, this would ensure uninterrupted operations at one of the capital region's most important public venues while the next chapter of the River Center takes shape. Under the plan, Visit Baton Rouge will oversee a competitive procurement or RFP process to select a qualified professional facility management firm for the River Center's day-to-day operations. Governor Jeff Landry signed 2 executive orders yesterday afternoon in an attempt to help those who wish to invest in Louisiana businesses. The orders included the Expedited Environmental Permitting Executive Order and the Securing Louisiana's Mineral Supply Chain Executive Order. State police cited 26 commercial truck drivers last week during a targeted enforcement operation on the Atchafalaya Basin Bridge aimed at keeping trucks out of the left lane, which has been illegal for many years. The operation sprung up from public complaints, and state police did note they're not done yet. U.S. Army Corps of Engineers has granted the federal permit for the Louisiana International Terminal, clearing the way for construction of a major new container port on the lower Mississippi River. Backed by Port Nola, Terminal Investment Limited, and Ports America, LIT, is designed to handle the world's largest container ships and connect more than 30 states to global markets. What you got, Breland?
Well, the June deal that U.S. President Donald Trump signed set an ambiguous 60-day deadline for ending the war with Iran and reaching an accord on its nuclear program.
Which is over now, right? You said the deadline, so that's coming on.
Been over.
So the 60-day deadline. Now let's not forget about the whole 60 days before Congress has to declare war when we're in a war. That was 120 days ago, if not more.
Right.
Super.
Right.
Awesome.
The defense began to present their case in the Lindsay Clancy trial on Monday after prosecutors rested their case against Clancy, whom they alleged deliberately and meticulously killed her 3 children in 2023. I don't know if you've been keeping up with this.
Not
case,
at all.
Brian.
No, I don't do the Casey Anthony stuff.
Yeah, it's a lot.
Okay.
It's a lot. I hate to go down that rabbit hole, but her lawyer, his name is Reddington, and he's well known.
Raymond Reddington?
Yes.
No.
Wait, hang on. Let me double check. But his name. Hold on. Wait, you're making a joke, and I'm totally not.
Raymond Reddington is James Spader's character in Blacklist.
Come on, Brian. Come on. No, it's
all excited.
It's Kevin Reddington. I'm sorry. Okay. I'm trying to wake up this morning. Well, with that being said, he is an absolute goat in the courtroom right now, and I'm going to say he is going to frame this up to where Patrick Clancy, the husband, did it.
Oh.
There's going to be a lot of stuff that's going to be coming out in the next couple of months, years, maybe.
Yeah.
There are just little things along the way. Yes, it's almost like Patrick Clancy might have gaslit her, kind of drugged her up. We don't know. We're all going to find out. But it's just, this whole case is bananas at this point.
This is just what we're gonna be dialed into, right? This is the new Casey Anthony.
Yep, OJ, Casey Anthony.
Yep.
It's the new case that we're all dialed into. Yep. I know.
It just wears me out.
Right. I know.
I mean, it's just okay.
I know. Well, the Jaden Daniels cease and desist must not mean much because his number 5 LSU jerseys are still on sale per the Advocate.
Yeah, I saw the Advocate post that yesterday. That's kind of a D move by the Advocate.
I mean,
but,
that's that big old bird. Yeah.
Yeah, big fat bird finger for
right?
number 5 right there. Well, yeah. I mean, why would you pay attention to a C&D like that at all?
I know.
You got to force action on something like that. Still, here's the thing. Right now, nobody's buying them. That's the flip side of this.
Yeah.
Is right now, who wants to buy a Jaden Daniels jersey?
Well, yeah.
You're more likely to sell a Darius Geist number 5 right now.
Well, yeah.
Wow. Just let that sit there for a second.
That's a good one.
611 Talk 107.3 FM WBRP. Tell you what, that's enough about former Tigers. We got some current Tigers on the way in just a little bit. In fact, LSU in the new AP poll, the preseason AP poll is out. We're going to talk about that in just a little bit. Do need to remind you about Landmark Bank, landmarkbankla.com, landmarkbankla.com. Been around since 1897 as a community bank and remain a community bank in 2026. And will remain a community bank, I mean, for forever probably. Look, you've seen a lot of businesses come and go over that time. It's darn near impossible to stay in business for that long. It's really tough to stay in business with that level of specificity, that level of specialization. When you've got something that, caps you out. You're not going to be a global bank. You're not going to take over the world, but what you are going to do is take the communities that you're in and grow them individually by growing the people in those communities. Whether you're talking about business banking, whether you're talking about personal banking, you have a banker. Someone who's invested in your community. If you want to learn what communities, visit landmarkbankla.com. No.
Hi, sir.
So I keep a bottle of water on my nightstand. Just get dry mouth during the night. And I don't know if I was actively knocking it over all night long or if my house is haunted and a ghost was knocking it over. Because it's physically out of my reach. I have to adjust to get to it. But my bottle of water knocked over at least half a dozen times in the night last night. That's my thing. I don't sleep like that. Like, it was enough to make me think the house is haunted.
And water was all over the floor. It was like
Not a whole lot, because it seemed like every time it would knock over, so it's got a pull-top lid where, you like the old sports bottle, you pull it up and it's open, you push it down and it's closed. Every time it would fall, it would land on its lid and close itself back up again. And then I would open it back up to take a sip, put it back on the... Bro, well... So, yeah, that was my night. I know. What am I missing here?
notes about Guardian Day. Do you know what you're talking about?
I just don't know who I'm talking to.
The president. I forget what his name is again. Patrick, I think.
The president's name is Donald Trump.
Not that president. I played a bit yesterday on Tiger, and it was like it's a teacher. sticking his pen in his closet. He goes, number one, Mr. Holmes, who killed Martin Luther King? And he goes, was it Donald Trump?
Yes. Yes, it was.
And then, like, other little notes. It was like, Mr. Holmes, why do you always eat candy at your desk? You should try some salad. And he's not bad, you know. I'm like, God, these kids say the damnest thing.
6:15, Talk 107.3 FM, WBRP, mornings with Brian Haldane, rolling right along. Ohio State, Oregon, Georgia, Notre Dame, Texas. That's your top 5 in the AP preseason poll. Means absolutely diddly doodly when it comes down to it. I mean, we're working towards a long season and then a longer playoff before establishing a national championship. In the AP top 25, especially the preseason one, does not mean much, if anything at all. But it is interesting to see two Big Ten teams atop the top 25. That being said, those two are Ohio State and Oregon. So just a few years ago, that would have been Big Ten and Pac-12. Like I said, Georgia, Notre Dame, and Texas round out your top 5. Your current champion, Indiana, comes in at number 6, followed by Miami. Texas A&M, Ole Miss, and Oklahoma rounds out the top 10. Once you get outside of the top 10, that is immediately where you're going to find your LSU Tigers. They're at number 11, followed by Texas Tech, and then Alabama. What? Alabama, a preseason 13? That's not the usual. Then BYU, Southern Cal, Michigan, Washington, Penn State, SMU, Tennessee, Utah, Iowa, Houston, Louisville, and Missouri rounds out the top 25. So you're looking at, I probably should have done the math ahead of time. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 SEC teams in the top 25. You are looking at, as far as the top 10 is concerned, Georgia, Texas A&M, Ole Miss, and Oklahoma. So half the top 10 is Southeastern Conference as well. So coming in at number 11, that's not a bad place to start the season. And I know Lane Kiffin doesn't care about a preseason poll, but you look at a spot where, as far as the polls are concerned, that this means nothing now with the playoffs. But as fans, this is what we're used to looking at. This is the way we've looked at it in the past. Do you have enough room to grow while simultaneously close enough to the top to be able to close in, as you show what you're worth on the field throughout the season? First scrimmage for the Tigers, first scrimmage of fall practice last Saturday. Louisiana Radio Network caught up with Coach Kiffin. Louisiana Radio Network grabbed all the audio, I should say, for this. Coach Kiffin says the first team defense started strong with an effective pass rush. Offensive side of the football, they were able to bounce back because of Sam Levitt's mobility.
He's moved great. We knew obviously what an athlete was, especially 2 years ago on film, and he moves around great, got out of a lot of trouble with some great pass rush and great pressures that came at him and some that came free Saturday.
One of the things that talking with our sister station 104.5, there's a lot of excitement about this Dylan Jones guy, the Wisconsin transfer running back. He's going to be in the backfield with Caden Durham and Harlem Berry. It's looking like it's going to be Jones, Berry, then Durham, according to our sister station 104.5. Back to LRN's audio. Kiffin says Berry has looked good in camp, but it's important to remember he's only a sophomore, cut 17.
Harlem's young. He got here 1 year and coming from a smaller league before that. And so there's some transition in that. And everybody nowadays just expects everybody to be an impact player immediately. And so I think he started to run the ball more physical. Got a good long touchdown run Saturday. So I'm very excited about where he can get to.
What I'm excited about is not seeing anybody that is going to be, aside from Sam Levitt and probably Trades Green, having it spread out. The more spread out it can be, the more like 20 teens New Orleans Saints it could be. You know how every time you'd look at Saints box score, Drew Brees would have hit like 8 different receivers and 5 different guys had carries, and that's what I'm looking for out of this team, hopefully. Kiffin says they ran 170 plays during the scrimmage. and got a good look at what was going on out there. We're counting down, y'all. September 5th is going to be game one, and I can't wait, personally. It's going to be awesome. Clemson will be in Tiger Stadium. Here is the Fox Business Report on Talk 107.3. Our background, Denham Springs. Like as you approach the Range Avenue exit and then on ramp, you get your normal volume there. Your normal volume as you get on 12 towards the 10-12 merge. I-10 westbound coming in from Ascension Parish is looking good this morning. It always is, unless there's some kind of major accident. And then I-10, once you're making your way through the city's good. Coming back from the west side, we're looking good on that side as well. Now, I am showing that there is blockage on I-10 eastbound coming across the river, coming across the bridge right before the 110 split. The board says blockage, but the map does not. So if you're coming into town, be on the lookout for that just in case it is there. Surface streets, we have an accident from about 5 minutes ago, South Choctaw Airline. We've got a brand new accident just popped up on the board, College Drive at I-10 West. So if you're hopping up on the interstate on College to make your way downtown, be on the lookout for that. And I need to get a cross street on this one, but we are still looking at out in Denham Springs. No, it's gone now. There it is. Denham Springs, Lockhart Road, east of Range, east of 16. There's a big chunk of closure on Lockhart Road. If you're out in Denham, you probably already know that. That's your look at traffic from the Talk 107.3 Traffic Center. 624 Talk 107.3 FM, WBRP, mornings with Brian Haldane, rolling right along. I had intended in this segment to talk about the changes coming to the River Center because, well, number one, we're going to have Jill Kidder on with us coming up at 7:15. Jill from Visit Baton Rouge going to be on with us to talk about everything that was announced yesterday, talking about bringing in this, well, he's from Baton Rouge, but he's been in Nashville for the last 30-plus years. Butch Spiron. I'm mispronouncing his name, and I apologize for that. He left Baton Rouge before I got to Baton Rouge. That's a long time ago. But I want to talk about the River Center in just a little bit. But our news partners at over WBRZ just completely derailed me. They just posted this up, and I can tell you, next Tuesday, 7:15 a.m., I believe it is, Metro Councilman Darrell Hurst is going to join us to talk about the new Delmont Economic Development District. And our news partners over at WBRZ have got it mapped out for you, like literally mapped out. Here is the story from BRZ. The future of Plank Road looks vastly different from its current state. Recently, Councilman Darrell Hurst releases renderings for the $20 million Delmont Economic Development Project. It was just approved by the Metro Council last week. Now we're getting a look at how the money will be used. It will change the look of major intersection street signs and renovate the exterior of existing buildings. Quote, this is going to be a master project. It is the first step into making the changes that we want to see in North Baton Rouge. With job opportunities come workforce development, education, change in household median incomes, change in our community, Hurst said. The overall plan is called Revive Plank Road. The project will focus specifically on Plank Road between Evangeline and Airline. It will go towards signage, facade, lighting, and landscaping. And I can tell you this is just the beginning. There will be a lot more to go along with it. And I absolutely adore this idea. I love this project. A $20 million investment by the city and parish, by the Metro Council, is going to go a long way towards the buy-in in North Baton Rouge. It's when we look at anything that is depleted in Baton Rouge, there are multiple reasons why things have depleted over years, and there are multiple reasons why we can never get out of the starting blocks to revive that part of town. This is one of the best ways to get us out of those starting blocks because it's a combination of the rest of Baton Rouge caring and buy-in on the inside. $20 million is going to go a long way, but it's not going to go all the way. It's the buy-in from the community that's going to take this to the next level, and I absolutely love it. Quote, the goal is to bring in eateries, the goal is to bring in retail, grocery stores, so that this becomes a walking community for the people who live around here, because some of them don't have cars. We're creating the ability for them to get jobs 2 to 3 minutes from their homes, Hurst said. And, yeah, if you go to WBRZ.com, they've got all the renderings. They've got the map out of what it's going to look like within the Delmont Economic Development District. And I got to go dig this up. I have all these in my office right now. They've really got some cool ideas as to just simple beautification, improved lighting. We already know Mayor President Sid Edwards has been all over it with the lighting and revamping the street surface itself. So very, very cool stuff on the way. We'll talk with Darrell Hurst 1 week from today. I would get him on sooner, but we're going to be out of town tomorrow, Thursday, and Friday. On the road tomorrow for the Louisiana Travel Association's annual summit. One of my favorite shows, actually two of my favorite shows of the year, where we go to the summit and we sit down and talk with the Visitors Bureau, Convention and Visitors Bureaus from every corner of the state, every nook and cranny within the state. And it's basically just a round robin of tell me what you feature, tell me why you're awesome. And it really sparks a lot of conversation. Really does a whole lot. We'll have the Lieutenant Governor on to talk about staycations, things going on in the state, initiatives that he's working on as well. But I absolutely love that show because it is one of the positive sides of Louisiana. And it's going to be a lot of fun. Thursday morning, we're going to stay in New Orleans and move over from the Marriott to the Hilton, where Tim Temple and crew are having the Louisiana Department of Insurance's annual conference. And you know how much is going on that front. You know how much is going on within the Department of Insurance if you've been checking your rates lately. If you shop around for homeowners insurance, you could see a reduction in premiums. And a lot of people are seeing reductions in premiums when it comes to their car insurance already. So a lot to talk about there. And then it's on the Lake Charles for Legislator. Legislator will be broadcasting there Thursday evening, Friday morning. If you don't know what Legislator is, I don't know if I can succinctly describe it because it's in an evolution period right now. It has been a fantastic get-together in the past, and this year, because of the folks at LAB, the Louisiana Association of Business and Industry, and the folks at Leaders for a Better Louisiana, formerly C100, and the folks from Southwest Louisiana, this is going to turn into a policy conference that I'm going to be all over. So that's the rest of the week. We'll talk to Daryl next week. Here's news. Oh, shit. Was that anything on traffic? Was that call about traffic? What up? No. No. They put their name on the building, and that's it. I mean, Caesar sponsors the Superdome. When we want to talk about renovations to the Superdome, I don't call Julius Caesar. Oh, let me. It's like nobody's got tickets. The luncheon at Legislator. And I think Corey's got me looking for like 15. And I might be able to land two. 15, not 50. Um, he asked for 5, and then he asked for 5 more for Tim Johnson, and then Rachel freaking texted me saying they're looking for 5 as well. I'm like, I hope these are the same 5, because otherwise I'm looking for 2 full fucking tables. You know, I'm more than happy. I want if I can score them all, I'm going to. Right. I'm more than happy to try, but. So Gordy is going. He's going to Legislature. Yeah. Oh yeah. There's a big get together before the luncheon. It's worth going just for that. The luncheon's boring. I mean, the luncheon is you hear from all of the representatives from Washington D.C. They're on the dais, but you don't get FaceTime with them ahead of time because they roll in, they sit on stage, and then they get out. What was I fucking looking up? Oh, topics for Crouere. Hey, give me 1 second. check his text. There's 3 topics there.
Hey, good morning, Jeff. It's going good. Brian said check your text. There's 3 topics for you. All right. Okay, I'll drop you a note. Okay.
Called Jeff yesterday. I said, I called Jeff yesterday, and I'm like, I feel like a douchebag even asking, but can y'all, I texted him first, and then I called him because it looked even douchier in text. I'm like, but can y'all please start giving attribution? And he's like, he said, normally if it's me, it's a time thing. I'm trying to squeeze as much as I can into those 2 minutes. He's like, if I had a 5-minute newscast, yeah, absolutely. I'm like, it's 3 seconds. Like, you know, Governor Landry talked with Brian Haldane on Talk 107.3. That's not hard. Like, but I get it. He's trying to get as much done as he can. I also got the vibe that, like, oh my word. So much going on in New Orleans right now. We check in every Tuesday, by the way, 637 Talk 107.3 FM, WBRP. We check in every Tuesday with our good buddy Jeff Crouere, host of Ringside Politics. How are you, man?
Hey, good morning, Brian. Doing great.
Glad to have you on this morning, although a couple of topics are great. But I want to start with one that my wife brought to my attention the other night, and I wanted to ask you about it because this is something I don't think we see too much in Baton Rouge. Plaza Tower. Somebody busted up in there and ended up dying, and now, like, police are on the hook for, like, increased patrols and whatnot. Tell me about how much do you know about the story?
Yeah, a little bit. I do know the Plaza Tower used to be our skyscraper. I mean, It was the premier building of the CBD. And then I also know that I was caught in the elevator there, stuck in the elevator in the Plaza Tower.
Oh, no.
There used to be a radio station on the top floor.
Yeah.
And I was, interviewed a few times by this station that had the top floor where they had an office. And over the years, it just became dilapidated and in disrepair. And it just has just become obviously an eyesore and a very deadly place. And we've been waiting for years for something to happen here, for it to be torn down or for it to be redeveloped, and sort of on the edge of the CBD now. Just a few years ago, the top part of it fell, and they put some supports up on the very top to keep it from falling onto the onto the street. So it has become sort of an interesting place to explore because it's so dilapidated, and it's sadly now a death trap because you had a 17-year-old going there to explore, and I think fell down steps that had been removed and fell to his death. And it's interesting because you've got another one of these eyesores out in Kenner, the Esplanade Mall, where you had some YouTubers go out there to try to, create a show and show an eerie, old dilapidated area, and they wound up getting arrested.
I saw that. And by the way, I'm totally guilty of watching the shows from abandoned places. I'm glued to those like a moth to the flame. You give me an abandoned places YouTube or reel or TikTok, and I'm all over it for sure.
So they're going to increase police patrols. They're going to hold the owner responsible. I mean, it's a 45-story building,
Mm-hmm.
and it's the late Joe Yeager had owned the building for the past decade. So the trustee wasn't commenting on it, but it was a Belle-chased teenager that broke in and was exploring and fell while going down these stairs with no railing. The urban exploring sort of phenomenon that is going on. And we have a lot of, look at the old Six Flags.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, that's an eerie place because it hasn't been developed for years. So, yeah, there are lots of places like this, but nothing as big and as much of an attraction, I guess, as the Plaza Tower. So, yeah. The panels fell off the tower a few years ago. A person riding a bike was hit. I mean, a person fell to his death there a few years ago. So it's really a problem, and hopefully that estate is going to secure it.
And it's such an unusual, like, architecturally, it's such an unusual, like, it's a skinny tower, just from the look of it. And do we know? You talk about some of the dilapidation and some of the things that have fallen off of it. Do you know, like, structurally, can anything be done with it? I know that there was plans probably about 20 or so years ago to turn it into, I think they were going to call it Crescent City Towers. Do you know if, like, they can make it something, or is it just going to sit there in perpetuity?
I mean, I think at this point it's so dilapidated. There's so much that would be needed that it would be probably cheaper to tear it down and start from scratch. Another building, they're doing that. They just started on that. Another eyesore, the Lindy Boggs Hospital, which was the old Mercy Hospital. I used to work there as their development director. And ever since Katrina, of course, hasn't been utilized. A complete eyesore, graffiti all over the place. And they're finally now starting, after all these years, of redeveloping that by tearing it down. So something, that is not a bad location. It's not far from the Superdome. It's not far from the main part of the CBD. It's an area that certainly could be put to good use. But right now, this has really been going on for too long. And it's just such a tragic situation with that young man dying.
The Lindy Boggs Hospital, but see that right there. By making the commitment to tear it down and start over again, you're already seeing, like, the inspiration of rebirth. Like, you're already, like, if you leave it sitting there, it's going to continue to be, just a sign of times that once were and aren't coming back, as opposed to a move towards the future.
Right. Because the graffiti, it was just a reminder of Katrina.
Yeah.
It was a reminder of, everything we lost during Katrina. And that was an amazing hospital. That thing was huge, massive.
Yeah. And
it just sat there for, literally decades now, 21 years. So thankfully, after all these years, the process to, tear it down has begun. So, yeah, that's a sign of rebirth. That's a sign, with the Charity Hospital now being redeveloped, and that's another building that has been vacant since Katrina. there's so many of those out there in New Orleans.
Well, and that's the thing, that Katrina, in retrospect, I know we're 21 years removed in a week and a half, right? Katrina, in retrospect, could not have hit at a worse time for, like, pardon the pun, but the perfect storm of, number one, it's a storm. Number two, downtowns around the country are having to reinvent themselves every time you turn around. Just go look at St. Louis, go look at Jackson, Mississippi. Like, downtowns struggle these days unless you have someone on the forefront of making sure downtown is constantly reinvented. But between those two things and just, New Orleans losing population overall, between those three things, it couldn't have happened at a worse time. So I think everyone would agree the Charity Hospital building was worth hanging on to.
Definitely. It's a historic structure, and it's a massive structure, and I'm so glad that they are going to turn that into something that can bring people to the CBD. The only thing else about Katrina, to throw in there, then you had the leadership. You couldn't have had worse leadership at the time in New Orleans when all that was going on.
Wait, y'all had leadership?
So, it really was the perfect storm that was just so devastating in so many different ways. But yeah, and then of course what's going on now is you have a lawsuit involving the Make It Right Foundation, which is this Brad Pitt group that came in here to provide these poor residents with housing, they were saying, and it's going to be economically advantageous, and they're going to use the right materials. And of course, all the materials were disastrous because they couldn't really work in this climate. And then you've got this, multi-million-dollar lawsuit happening. So that was an example of, some Hollywood elites trying to help poor New Orleans using state-of-the-art materials that were absolutely, unsuitable to this area.
Yeah, made a bad problem worse. Somehow made it worse. Absolutely. We're talking with Jeff Crouere, host of Ringside Politics. I got about a minute and a half left with Jeff. Jeff, give me the last 60 seconds talking about what's coming with the port. This sounds like big global news.
Big news. The port is a massive driver of our economy, and we have been hearing for years about this international terminal. So now it's been officially cleared for construction. So this is something the Port of New Orleans announced. The Army Corps approved the permit. So you're going to have now this long-planned container port in St. Bernard, which, is going to be able to handle some of the largest cargo ships in the world. So this is going to be massive. So these are containers that are, too large to pass underneath the Crescent City connection.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's going to be a partnership between all kind of different ports. There have been some opposition in St. Bernard because they believe that it's going to be harmful to their parish. They're worried about the noise, et cetera, the pollution. So this has been, this battle that's been happening. But this is a major step forward with this approval. So they're saying this is going to create, massive economic activity, talking about tens of billions of dollars.
I can't wait to see more. Cannot wait to see more. In the meanwhile, you got a show to get to. He's Jeff Crouere, host of Ringside Politics. We'll talk to you next week, brother.
Thank you, Brian.
Thank you. Quick break. We got, we're talking Mary Bird Perkins next. They're calling us. That's what I was looking up earlier.
Is it Duffin? D-U-F-F-I-N?
That's what I had. We'll see if I can find those Delmont plans. keep us from going places.
God, no.
I think there's a dead guy in the parking lot across the street.
What? Like that parking lot?
Yeah, like across the street from us, and so you know how the next street over where it goes residential right there, that so the building right there, towards the back of that building in the parking lot, there's a bunch of firemen tending to somebody who's just laying there, and I can't tell if you can't tell from over here if they're moving or not.
Damn.
I know.
Another day in downtown Baton Rouge.
Oh, sorry, it's a female.
Oh, it's a female?
Yeah. Oh no, she's conscious. Okay. Abdominal pain. Look at a damn fire truck out there.
I wonder if she's going like in the labor or something. Unless she had to get out of her car or something.
Ain't no car. .652 Talk 107.3 FM WBRP. Mornings with Brian Haldane, rolling right along. The Maryborough Perkins Cancer Center has their barbershop bash coming up. We're waiting on someone from Maryborough Perkins to call in, and we're supposed to be talking about that right here. Tell you what, give me just a moment. I apologize, y'all. I hate doing this live. Where's Ryan? There we go. Boom, boom, boom. Okay. Hopefully we'll connect with that. It's a pretty cool community event that they put on. And it actually happens right up the street right here at Webb's Barbershop. So if you're on Government Street towards the tracks, in between the tracks in downtown, you'll find Webb's Barbershop right there by the Lincoln Hotel. That's where you'll find the Barbershop Bash, which is coming up. I believe it is on the 22nd. So that would be Saturday, is what we're looking for here. Yep, Saturday, August 22nd. Webb's Barbershop's on Eddie Robinson Senior Drive. Hopefully we can connect with them in just a quick second to get a little more information on that. While I do have a minute, let me remind you about the folks in Matherns. You know where to find them in real life. You'll find them downtown, the 3rd Street location. Over there the other day, grabbed a little salad from the salad bar, as it were, and just snagged a quick lunch. If you're downtown and you need a quick lunch, the deli counter's phenomenal. It's so tough to it's so tough to stay disciplined on the diet and hit the salad bar, because when you're making your salad, you're right there by the counter, and you're smelling the fried chicken and the fried catfish and everything else they're serving up for lunch. And it all looks fantastic, and it's like, no, this is a good-looking salad. It's so good. Anyway, you get downtown on 3rd Street. You got the Nicholson Gateway Shopping Center directly across the street from Tiger Stadium. And then you've got Highland Road just west of Kenilworth. That is the OG location. They're back. Matherns at Kenilworth is right there, and that is a fantastic spot for all your grocery shopping. A number of local brands you're not going to find elsewhere. They got a whole section in the back, a whole freezer section for A-Bear specialty meats, which I probably spend way too much on, just in volume. Love me some A-Bear specialty meats. And if you have the Matherns Rewards app, you could be earning cash towards more groceries every time you shop, whether you're talking about either the cash towards more groceries or just the savings by clipping the deals all the way throughout. you notice very, very quickly that like $1 off Pop-Tarts and 50 cents off chicken broth and 50 cents off of salad dressing, and like it stacks up pretty quickly. Before you know it, you're like, wow, I'm saving like $15, $20 on my shopping experience. And oh, by the way, I'm earning cash towards more groceries as a result of it. So download the Bethurns Rewards app. Right now, I have 18,070 rewards points. I know. I need to redeem some of that. You get 10 points for every dollar you spend. And the more you redeem, the more they're worth to redeem. Or the more you save, the more they're worth to redeem them. It's a very cool program. Very user-friendly and cash-positive program, to be sure. All right. I'm guessing this isn't going to happen with the Mary Bird Perkins Cancer Center. We were supposed to talk to them right here about the upcoming barbershop bash. The long and the short of it is it's going to be Saturday over at Webb's Barbershop, and they're going to do screenings. That's them right there. Here we go. All right, we got it now, right?
Yes, we're going to come to you quick. We don't have much time, but I'm going to put you on hold.
All right, here we go. All right, we have Renee. All right, Renee Duffin with Mary Bird Perkins is on the hotline right now. We're going to squeeze you in for these last 3 minutes. Tell me about the Barbershop Bash.
It's our annual Barbershop Bash at Webb's Barbershop on the corner of Eddie Robinson Senior Drive and Government Street.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to be there on Saturday, August 22nd, doing prostate and colorectal cancer screenings. It's all free. We're going to have music, food, fun, lots of health vendors. You'll have an opportunity to donate blood. You'll can get your blood pressure checked, and some fabulous door prizes. So we're encouraging men to come out and get screened.
The screenings for colorectal or prostate cancer are not what they used to be. Tell me a little bit about their importance.
It's important to detect cancer at its earliest stages. That's when you have more options for treatment and you can have better health outcomes as a result of that. And so the prostate cancer screening test that we're going to be doing is a PSA blood draw, and you can do the physical exam if you so desire. And then the colorectal screening test is a take-home kit that you do in the privacy of your home. So we do encourage men in particular to come out and get screened because prostate cancer is the number one cancer amongst men, especially African-American men, and it is the number one cause of cancer mortality amongst African-American men as well. So if you are age 45 or older, or you have a very strong family history of prostate cancer, we do encourage you to come out and get screened and get educated.
As far as the incidence of the death rate for cancer, as far as how deadly it can be, early detection is the key for basically every cancer out there. How much of a difference does the early detection make on these two cancers in particular?
It makes a huge difference because with colorectal cancer, if we detect polyps at an early stage, they can be removed, and you can beat that cancer. Prostate cancer, if detected early and working together with your physician, you could develop a treatment plan that could have very good outcomes for you in the long run. So early detection is the key, as you said, with any cancer, but for these two in particular.
Saturday, August 22nd, 9 a.m. to noon. There will be food. There will be music. There'll be a lot of fun to be had. And, of course, cancer screenings as well, courtesy of the folks at Mary Bird Perkins. Renee, appreciate you getting in on time there.
All right. Thank you.
All right. We got it in under the wire. Here comes, we got 30 seconds left. By the way, once again, the Webb's Barbershop is 401 Eddie Robinson Drive. It's right on the other side of I-110 from where we're at here on Government Street. So if you're going up Government Street, you'll see it from there. All right, hour two's on the way. Cannot look forward to it. Cannot wait. Jill Kidder from Visit Baton Rouge is going to join us talking about the big announcements being made yesterday. Also, next hour, Jillian Snider from the R Street Institute. Let's talk about crime, y'all. FBI stats are out nationwide. Things are looking better. But how does it break down by state? We'll have that for you next hour. I love when the inflatable colon comes out.
Oh God! Every time we had to do our annual for Breck, we would walk in to the gym where we would do all of our stuff, and the colon just you walk through it.
Oh. The at-home test, you collect a stool sample.
I was like, do you dig up there? I'm like, but look, it gets men doing their due diligence, you know. But who really wants to? Yeah,
I would rather go get the colonoscopy. I'm not saving my own shit. I'll drink the chalky stuff and
Where's this? Damn.
you know what?
Do you want me to post this interview with Rita?
No.
Okay. Because it's like a minute.
No, I know. If she'd gotten in on time, I would have been. We could have talked more about colorectal cancer and prostate cancer, and just. Um.
We won't have much time, but I'm gonna.
um, 7:05. Talk 107.3 FM, WBRP, mornings with Brian Haldane, rolling right along. Hour 2 coming your way right now. Brian here with you. Bree Lynn producing, starting off the 7 o'clock hour at 80 degrees in downtown Baton Rouge. As, man, look at the forecast. I thought we were going to get a little bit of rain today, but no, it looks like it's scaled back to, what are we looking at, 15%? I wasn't even listening to the forecast right there.
Unless we get those, 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock storms like we've been getting.
So yesterday and the day before, both of them, when they hit, boy, did they hit.
I know.
Um,
Loud.
Yesterday was in the middle of cross-country practice for us. We were out at Independence Park. And while cross-country's going on, I'm making my way laps around the outside to get in my own cardio there. And I'm on the opposite side from where practice is at. And you just heard this crack of thunder that sounded like you were inside of a drum.
I know.
And I was like, that's it. Practice over.
Yep.
Made my way back. But it was crazy because the temperature was right at 99 degrees, about to tip over to 100. And then within 2 minutes, it was 75 degrees outside.
And decently feeling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Felt fantastic. Once the rain was over, it felt fantastic for a little minute. But so maybe we're looking at that. Busy hour this hour. Jill Kidder from Visit Baton Rouge slated for our next segment. And Jillian Snider from the R Street Institute. We're going to talk about crime numbers nationwide. The FBI is out early with their report for 2025. And what does that mean? Is it going to be helpful to law enforcement? Are we going to be able to replicate, copy, and paste some things that have made things safer? And what has been the things that have made us safer? We'll talk with Jillian Snider from the R Street Institute at 7:35. Right now, though, we got your top stories in trending. Grabbing this one from our news partners at WBRZ, although I got the plans right here in my hand. The future of Plank Road looks vastly different from its current state. Recently, Councilman Darrell Hirsch released his renderings for the $20 million Delmont Economic Development Project. This was just approved by the Metro Council last week. Their money will be used for, where's the area? It's the Revived Plank Road plan. It specifies, money will be focused specifically on Plank Road between Evangeline and Airline Highway. It's going to go towards signage, facade, lighting, and landscaping. We got Councilman Hirsch coming on the show 1 week from today. The show's on the road the rest of the week, so we couldn't get him in before then. Mayor Sid Edwards has asked the Metro Council to approve a plan for Visit Baton Rouge to serve as the interim manager of the Raising Cane's River Center while the city parish seeks a development partner for the venue's long-term renovation. I could go on with the story, but Jill Kidder's in our next segment, so we'll move on. Governor Jeff Landry signed 2 executive orders yesterday afternoon in an attempt to help those who wish to invest in Louisiana businesses. The orders include the Expedited Environmental Permitting Executive Order and the Securing Louisiana's Mineral Supply Chain Executive Order. Louisiana State Police cited 26 commercial truck drivers last week during a targeted enforcement operation on the Atchafalaya Bridge aimed at keeping trucks out of the left-hand lane, which has been illegal for many years. The operation sprung up from public complaints. State Police noted they're not done with this just yet either. U.S. Army Corps of Engineers has granted the federal permit for the Louisiana International Terminal, clearing the way for construction of a major new container port on the lower Mississippi River. It's backed by Port Nola. The Terminal Investment Limited and Ports America, or LIT, is designed to handle the world's largest container ships and connect more than 30 states to global markets. What you got, Breland?
The June deal that U.S. President Trump signed set a 60-day deadline for ending the war with Iran and reaching an accord on its nuclear program.
Okay, so that 60 days is over with.
We're still at war?
Yeah, we are.
Yeah.
How many, Google, let's see, how many days has it been since February 28th? I believe it was the 28th when we started this. 170 days now.
Oh, gosh.
170 days for this 4-week war.
And originally, what was it said would be in and out in a month?
4 weeks, yeah.
4 weeks.
3 to 4 weeks.
Woo.
He said 3 to 4 weeks. The president said this on the phone with, I believe it was Jake Tapper.
Yes.
And he said 3 to 4 weeks, but it looks like we're ahead of schedule.
All right.
And this is not Trump hate, by the way. I'm not hating on the president.
I know.
I'm saying this is a conundrum that no one has ever been able to solve. And I'm thinking maybe the president's ego got the best of him by getting into this. It's not hate. I understand. Worldwide problem, a worldwide nuclear problem, a potential nuclear problem with an unbelievably volatile holder of a potential nuclear weapon. I get all of it. But
Right.
Hubris is always the downfall.
Well, some of the nation is tuned into this trial. The defense began to present their case in the Lindsay Clancy trial on Monday after prosecutors rested their case against Clancy, whom they alleged deliberately and meticulously killed her 3 children back in 2023.
Yeah.
We were dialed in with OJ. We were dialed in with
Casey Anthony.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's one of those trials where people are like, "Ooh, what's going to happen next?"
Well, this is the nature of this is the nature of who we are. We are a voyeuristic society.
Yeah.
I have never understood it. I will never understand it. This is not national news. It's not. A woman kills her kids and then fakes a suicide attempt, I believe. I read part of an article during one of the breaks in the last hour.
Yes.
And that's the extent to which I know of this. I don't know anything about this story. So this is not national news. This is a local news story that's gone national because women all around the country who are obsessed with true crime can look at this woman and say, I'm better than her.
I'm going to tell you why women are also obsessed, Brian. She suffered horrible postpartum and psychosis, even though some of the people on trial or the doctors, et cetera, aren't saying that. But women who have dealt with postpartum, it's kind of shedding that light on maternal mental health.
Yeah.
And so I think that's why women are just so obsessed with this trial right now. Should we be?
Is it though?
No.
Is it though? Because this is on repeat. This just happens to be the case today, and you can shine that light on it. Because hopefully, mental health does have a light shown on it because of this case.
Yeah.
Hopefully, we always want more attention on mental health, but is that the reason, or is that an extenuating circumstance?
I would go with the latter. Yeah. Yep. All right. The Jane Daniels cease and desist. This makes me laugh. It's not funny, but must not mean much because his number 5 LSU jerseys are still on sale per the Advocate.
And they're going to stay on sale because who's buying that right now?
Are they marked down?
I would hope so.
That's horrible.
We're going to run the 5 for $5 sale.
Oh, no.
Get number 5 for $5. Stop by Five Below on your way to Five Guys to pick up a number 5.
Buy one, get one free?
No, the 5 was the joke.
Yeah, I know.
713, Talk 107.3 FM, WBRP. Big announcements made yesterday about the River Center. We're going to break that down next with Jill Kidder from Visit Baton Rouge.
He's grown up his whole life like Jane Daniels.
Oh, Jane Daniels didn't grow up here. Huh? He didn't grow up here.
I knew he did.
Oh.
Jill's fallen.
Please apologize that our hotline's been down forever.
Hey, Jill, good morning. I apologize. Our hotline has been down for months now, so I am so sorry. Yes, you did. Okay, so look, we are in commercial right now. Give us about 2 minutes, okay? Yes, ma'am.
.715 Talk 107.3 FM, WBRP. Mornings with Brian Haldane rolling right along. Talking in our last segment about shining a light on mental health, that's exactly what you'll get over at NeuroJust. In fact, take it a step further and they'll shine a light on how to help your mental health, especially if you've been battling with anxiety, depression. And we should probably talk with the guys at NeuroJust about postpartum. I bet that plays in here. But talking about anxiety, depression, if you've been battling with this and have been treatment resistant, meaning the sit-down, talk it out therapy or the antidepressants, they're not your path, TMS therapy might be. It stands for transcranial magnetic stimulation, and this is their focus over at NeuroJust. From the moment you walk through the front door, it's nothing but love and positivity towards your goal. It is nothing but how do we get you on the right path? How do we get you moving in that direction to where you are more balanced and those crashing waves of anxiety, depression are just calm seas. It's an amazing process. I've actually sat through the process myself. It's not, you barely feel it. It's non-invasive. It's FDA approved. And if you tried other methods for your mental health journey, they'll go to battle with your insurance company to make sure they pick up the tab. Learn more at neurojust.com, NEUROJUST, neurojust.com. Big announcements made yesterday about the Raising Cane's River Center. We got Jill Kidder from Visit Baton Rouge on with us right now. Good morning. How are you?
I'm great, Brian. Thanks so much for having us on.
No, glad to have you on. I'm hoping this is the first of like 1,000 conversations about this because I walked away. Well, I wasn't at the press conference. I got all the information from yesterday's press conference, and I walk away from that information thinking the future is unbelievably bright. Break it down for me piece by piece, and I might interject along the way with a question.
Oh, absolutely. Well, thank you for that commentary because we're pretty excited about it. I think that there's opportunity all over Baton Rouge. Yeah. And this could be one of those catalysts that really kicks off Plan Baton Rouge 3 and all the things that are in that plan that are so exciting for our community. And we just want everybody to come to the table and work together to get those things accomplished. But with the River Center specifically, there were a lot of things kind of converging at once. And one is that at the end of the year, the contract for the management company that's currently there, Legends, is up. And the prudent thing for any community to do is always to go out for RFP for that kind of thing. Mm-hmm. And whether it be the company who is already there stays and renews their contract, or there's a new company that comes in. And the city knew that. The other thing is that we've been working for about 6 or 8 months now to find a developer, but putting the pieces in place, really, to get a developer to enter into a public-private partnership with the city to, redevelop the center, hopefully, and add some square footage to it, but also to look at building a headquarters hotel, which means about 350 to 400 rooms, a hotel adjacent to the facility. And as you know, when people go to a convention, they want to stay in a headquarters hotel. And so we don't want to take any business from our other hotels. What we want to do is just grow the pie. And that means growing the pie, we've got to get bigger conventions and bigger events in that form some compression, as we call it, in all of our hotels throughout the parish. So that's what's needed in order for us to continue to grow. It's been needed for a long time. I think when the first study was done 3 years ago, we were one of 3 hotels of the 15 that they studied in our region that did not have a headquarters hotel adjacent to it. So it does put us at a deficit when we're competing. They wanted the continuity there the city did, to just kind of continue this momentum. And so they asked us to take on the management. That doesn't mean we're going to be doing the day-to-day. We're not going to be in there every day, but we will be overseeing the contract and overseeing the management company, whoever that is, once we go through the RFP process. Now, this is not set in stone yet. I want to say that first and foremost. I mean, the city council definitely has to vote on this, but all indications will be that we're moving forward with this process. So we're excited to be a part of it. We're honored that the city trusts us with this huge asset of our community, and we want to make everyone proud. And in addition to that, they have hired someone I think you're probably very familiar with, and that's Butch Spearden, who was in Nashville for about 32 years. But before that, he was in Baton Rouge. And so he had my job. And so we have been working together for about a year and a half, maybe 2 years now. And it's just been, he's been my professional coach, and just, it's been wonderful. It has absolutely been wonderful. And I think he's going to lend a lot to this process overall.
Okay, so first of all, I got his name right, Spiriton. Secondly, I'm not familiar with him. He left Baton Rouge before I got here. I moved here in the fall of '95 to go to LSU. So no, I was in hotels when Paul Arrigo was running things, so not before that. But everything I'm reading about Butch sounds amazing, and I can't wait to get him on the show as well. But we'll get back to him in a minute. I want to stay on task here with the River Center. How geographically constricted are we when it comes to revamping the River Center?
Well, there's certainly some property around the center, but we don't know what's going to happen with the arena at this point, specifically. And I know that's, been out in the public, and we've talked about it because the studies have said if the arena is built at LSU, then we have to right-size that facility. So I think there's some opportunity if the arena does happen at LSU for us to look at that. There's also some, opportunity that possibly across the street near the, area where the kid is now, in that open area there is possibility of part of maybe Repentance Park. We don't want to take up a lot of green space. We love green space. But, that's an opportunity as well. So there is, and we could go up above what's there. All of those things have been talked about, with the architects. Now, some of that would certainly, cost a whole lot more than others. But I think we've got some options, and developers are going to tell us what's best. I don't want us to have some preconceived notion. These guys know what they're doing. They've done it in other markets, and when we find that right developer, they're going to be able to help us and guide us as to how to place that footprint.
I mean, as far as Repentance Park is concerned, we can find green space. Yeah. I mean, this is at a premium right here. The square footage we have is at a premium right here. I do like the idea of going vertical, though. That is super awesome. And then I'm guessing maybe across the street where that where that Anytime Fitness is at. We're probably geographically constricted on that side by that electrical substation is.
Yeah, we are. It's really across the street near the levee, and that's been talked about. There's some constraints there. I mean, what do we do with how do we get over the railroad tracks? How do we, there are just some things that, certainly, working with the Corps of Engineers, we have to figure out if it even can hold a hotel on that space. But, there's just opportunity, and we're looking at all of it and throwing it up and saying, developer, tell us what's best.
We got Jill Kidder from Visit Baton Rouge on with us. Let's talk about the management end of this. What would Visit Baton Rouge's role look like? Because you're seeking RFPs for the future. You're not doing data. Provided everything runs through the Metro Council. We're just going to work under the assumption of that phrase is being inserted for the rest of the conversation. Provided everything works in the Metro Council. What would Visit Baton Rouge's role look like? Because it won't be day-to-day, but you will have some hand. I mean, I know we've seen some things that y'all are out there big game hunting for things to come to Baton Rouge, and you have to go get approval for, a waiver on rental fees and whatnot. Would this give y'all more leeway on that regard to do what you do?
Yeah, there's going to be an oversight committee as it's envisioned right now, Brian, that would be made up of some of the city council members and possibly, the mayor's office. So that's probably where we would go for some of those kind of approvals. But for the most part, I think what we would want to do is begin by, taking a look at what the needs are, figuring out what if there's any life safety issues or, cosmetic things that we can do in the short term prior to a developer coming in, because we don't want to spend a lot of money on the facility. Right. This is a long-term play, but we are going to want to do some things to just make it a little bit better as people move in. And I think we're going to be looking at policies and procedures and working with the management company that wins the RFP to say, okay, how can we better position this thing to be an economic engine for the community? Meaning, how can we get more of those bowling congresses in? How can we get more of the regional conferences in that will cause that compression in our hotels and bring people in from outside? Because if we keep churning the money inside our community, now, yes, we want to have the events or our community events. That's, part of what this center was built for.
Sure.
But we also want it to be an economic engine. And that's where the real benefit to our community comes in, is when we bring people into the community, they spend their money, they leave their dollars here, and they leave their tax money here, where we don't have to pay that same tax to get the same level of service. So, that's what we're all about, and that's what we're trying to accomplish.
Give me a timeline on that RFP for the long-term management company. How does that work? Like, we're going to be seeking an RFP for an unfinished product. Yeah.
Well, and this would be interim. Both the Visit Baton Rouge's position, with the oversight of the management company, as well as the management company itself. It would then, until we find it, we will be there until we find a developer. And if the developer then wants to keep the management company, that's great, and we hope that they would. But we don't know that. They may want to bring in their own folks. But what we want to do is just bridge that gap until we can find that developer, Brian. And so that's really the process. Now, the RFP process is we're going to try to do it as quickly as we can, and it may be an RFQ process, just request for qualifications, because honestly, there are not many companies who do this, and so at this level. And so we're going to go out either for RFP or RFQ, and we're going to then interview management companies, and a selected committee will choose the best. And we promise the community that this will be a fair and open and honest choice. Tell me about Butch Spiriton. He's a rainmaker, Brian. I don't know what else to say about this guy. He truly is. We had a lot of conversation over the years, but I've known what he's done for, all my career, really. And when you talk to anyone in Nashville that is in leadership there and who has been in leadership from the mayor on down, they will tell you that the reason why Nashville is where it is because of Butch Spiriton, for the most part. He came up with the tagline, Music City. He was instrumental in redoing their convention center and moving that project forward with a headquarters hotel years and years ago, and a new arena. He's been involved in all of the decisions about the NFL there, and also this Super Bowl win that they just got. I mean, he is, as I said in the beginning, a true rainmaker. And if we can just bring part of that vision and that knowledge, because he's been through it all. And, as he said, I made some mistakes. He said, I just don't want y'all to make the same.
Right.
And will Baton Rouge ever be Nashville? No, we don't want to be Nashville. We want to be a better Baton Rouge. And we can be. We've got all the pieces and the parts. We just have to use them successfully. And if somebody's already done it, why reinvent the wheel? No, exactly. We got less than a minute to go. Is his role going to be primarily convention center, or am I hearing inklings of maybe getting Nicholson Corridor involved here? I'm not sure. I'm sure he would be glad to share
just putting that in the universe.
His knowledge with anyone, you know. But I think primarily right now, what he's working on is the River Center, and I think that's what the mayor's got him focused on, and the city council, of course, they have to vote on him as well next week. So as long as that all goes through, I think his primary focus is, as will be mine, is the River Center right now.
She is Jill Kidder with Visit Baton Rouge. I'm going to see you down in New Orleans tomorrow.
You sure will. I'm headed there today.
Excellent. Looking forward. Yeah, I'll be on my way this evening. Looking forward to it. Thank you so much for the time.
Oh, thanks so much, Brian. We always enjoy it.
Likewise.
Bye-bye.
Likewise. geographical constraints can be solved by going vertical. That was what I took away from that. I'm sure somebody took away from it that Butch Spiriton's going to bring a Super Bowl to Baton Rouge, but that's not what she said. It's 7:30 Years News. Am I hearing thunder? I know it's not bright outside. Man, I hope so. I think that's Jillian on one.
Talk 107.3. Yes, ma'am. Okay, we are in break right now. We'll be coming to you in 2 minutes, okay? Okay. I am showing.
So, okay. So, I've been sitting on this for like 6 months now. This packet on Plank Road. Councilman Hurst was trying to pitch this a long time ago, and I was all in. And for the Delmont Economic Development District, and it's just been sitting in my office. So he finally got it across the finish line with the Metro Council, and now I feel like I'm a week behind on something I was 6 months ahead on. What I love about it is the intricacy. He's looking at property by property. And it's something that's so dilapidated as Plank Road needs that kind of love.
On this day in 1877, Billy the Kid kills his first. He was the famous outlaw's first victim. Some of these this day stories, I'm like,
It doesn't make sense.
Moon.
It didn't. I love a bipartisan. He'll be here next Tuesday.
Okay. I'm all your show on Tuesday. We'll be okay though, because Wilton's gonna be. We'll figure it out.
Next Tuesday?
Yeah, Monday.
It'll be fine.
You're producing Moon, right? You always produce. Arcade does.
I'm going to produce the first 2 hours. I'm going to have a lunch next Tuesday, I think.
Who is doing your this week? Your tendering is Cade, right? You're like, are you new to the team?
11 to 1 tomorrow.
Yeah.
I guess Cade, and he'll have Wilton.
Check with Cade. I'm sure he is.
Hopefully it's Cade with Wilton shadowing, because Wilton needs to know how to do those.
To where Cade doesn't.
Because this year we're going to set a record for talk for the most revenue generated by remotes. Yeah.
Good for you.
And bear in mind, we used to have 3 live shows on this station. And, well, also bear in mind, between Legislator and Washington Mardi Gras, that's a big chunk of it.
Wow.
Well, I mean, we may. 737 Talk 107.3 FM, WBRP, mornings with Brian Haldane, rolling right along. Got to remind you about the Baton Rouge Metro Airport. FlyBTR.com is the website. FlyBTR.com. Making travel plans for work. FlyBTR.com. Making travel plans to follow the Tigers. FlyBTR.com. Going to squeeze in a trip to get out of town as the kids are back at school. Going to squeeze in a trip to get out of town once fall break rolls around. FlyBTR.com. And you want to take into account the whole experience. Don't just look for the cheapest ticket price somewhere, because there's more that goes into it than that. There is the drive down to the airport. There is the drive back from the airport, which, by the way, to me is the biggest one, because once you're home, you won't be home. There's the TSA experience. There's the exorbitant parking rates down the street from us. The whole experience, when you take into account the whole experience, you get so much more out of it. Oh, and by the way, supporting a local business in your own backyard. FlyBTR.com. FBI is out early with the 2025 reported crimes in the nation statistics report. We have got Jillian Snider on with us from R Street. Jillian, good morning. Welcome back to Talk 107.3. How are you?
Good morning. How are you?
I'm doing very well. We've got a good chunk to break down here. I want to start with, did I not see it, or do we not have state-by-state breakdowns yet?
We do, but I don't think anyone has yet been able to take the time to go through each line independently.
Okay.
They did have all the collections of data, though, on the Crime Data Explorer. But all that's really been out there is like the national headlines.
All right, so let's start with this. What are the national headlines?
So overall, I mean, it's optimistic. I mean, we've seen violent crime went down a little over 9% from last year, and property crime went down over 12% from last year. So that's huge news. The only category that I think nationally saw a slight increase was rape. Rape is up a little over 1%. That's in large cities, over 1 million in the population.
Mm-hmm.
That could be attributed to a number of things, including increased reporting. So we shouldn't, harness in on that, but the numbers overall look really good.
Do we know why the numbers are moving the way they're moving? Because I think there's some things that law enforcement would take into account. I think there's some things that social policymakers would take into account. And I think there's some things that the average Joe would think are contributing to this as well. So what's the why behind the numbers?
Okay, first, the caveat, this is only the crimes that were reported to law enforcement. And I always like to, premise that with this. We don't know all the unreported crimes. And usually when the FBI releases this report, we always see the Bureau of Justice Statistics. They release their National Crime Victimization Survey around the same time. That tells us all the crimes that happened that victims decided not to report to law enforcement. So we don't have that out. I actually checked first thing this morning, and I was hoping maybe they dropped it early like the FBI did, but they have not. It usually comes out in September. So this, all I could speak to is the FBI's report tells us this is what crimes people picked up the phone and called 911 and reported. I would never attribute a crime increase or a crime decline to one specific thing, because that's not how life works in reality. We know that the last year we've seen law enforcement agencies all over the country have actually had less personnel. They're operating with less officers, less deputies. So what they're doing is really targeted enforcement. They are focusing on their high crime areas or their crime hotspots, as you call them, or they're identifying people within the community that they know are serious risks to public safety and making those a priority. It's not as much random and routine patrol. It's really looking at that focused deterrence to bring down violent crime.
We're talking with Jillian Snider from the R Street Institute about the FBI crime numbers. FBI reporting numbers are down. Jillian, I got to go back to that other report you were talking about. How does one put together a report on unreported crime? Is that just how do you accumulate the people to talk to?
So it's a survey. They've been doing it for years and years. It's a longitudinal survey that the Bureau of Justice Statistics does. Basically, they survey cohorts of households, and it's anonymous. I mean, it's not, no one's name is attributed to anything. And they just try and talk to people about, were you the victim of a crime? What type of crime was it? And did you report or not? So that's really supposed to, what we call in the criminology space, the dark figure of crime. It's the, I mean, you know, I was a police officer for a long time, and we always hoped that people would call 911 to report the crime, because we can't solve what no one tells us happened. But like I said, it's a survey that's conducted every single year, and it's really just to give policymakers, law enforcement, and the general public an understanding that, honestly, almost half of all crime that occurs in the world is not reported to police, mostly property crime. And that's because property crime, it honestly doesn't get solved as often as it should. I think we're only about, I think 80% of all property crime goes unsolved. So it's only about 20% of the property crime reported to police gets solved. So most people think, oh, my car got stolen, or oh, my bicycle got stolen, or, you know, someone broke into my car and took something. They don't always call 911 because they don't really think it's worth it.
I mean, if it's my car, I'm definitely calling for sure.
No, I know, but sadly, most law enforcement agencies don't really investigate grand larceny auto anymore, because with the, you know, with insurance policies and automatic license plate readers out there, the hope is that some kind of technology will find it. But I know when I was a cop, we took a report for a stolen car, but we didn't really have a unit that would go out there every day and just look for stolen cars.
Well, and that's not a knock on law enforcement per se. I mean, there's a lot of triaging going on because numbers are down nationwide on that front as well. I mean, there is some knock on law enforcement there, but it's not totally in that realm. I mean, and by the way, we're like huge supporters of Crime Stoppers here on Talk 107.3 FM, and I actually serve on my neighborhood's crime prevention district. So every time, call 911. I mean, you miss 100% of the shots you don't take. So if you want that 20% of getting something back, I don't care if it's your lawnmower, I don't care if it's your weed whacker, make the call.
I agree. I urge people, if you see a crime, witness a crime, are the victim of a crime, law enforcement can't help you if you don't let them know that you need their help. And so it's very discouraging when you see that about 50% of all crime goes unreported, because how would law enforcement know what kind of strategy to devise to make their community safer if they don't actually know what's going on?
We're talking with Jillian Snider from the R Street Institute about the latest FBI crime numbers. Now, okay, so working without that secondary report, even with that, I'm going to ask you to walk down a couple of the paths. You started talking about, you know, being more targeted in hot spots and whatnot. What else is working?
I think that we're coming out of, you know, we're 5 years post-COVID for the whole. So I think we finally, as a nation, like, recovered from that. And, you know, these crime numbers are national, so it doesn't give you a depiction of every local area. And I always like to say that crime nationally going down is a wonderful thing, but you're still going to have small areas. I mean, I'm from New York City, and there's still parts of the Bronx that see much higher rates of crime than anywhere else in New York City. Same with Brooklyn. Look at Louisiana, for example. Like, Louisiana is falling in tow with the rest of the nation, but for the longest time was the highest state murder rate in the country.
Right.
But I know New Orleans reported a reduction in murders last year. Baton Rouge also had a reduction in murders. So, like I said, I think that it's a combination of communities kind of coming together, calling 911 when they see it in some of these cases, obviously, because we do have these crimes reported, and just more coordination between community members and law enforcement, which is huge, because if you don't have the community's cooperation, you're not solving anything.
How important is it right now to sift through and make sure you have what's empirical and avoid the whole correlation equals causation problem?
I'm the statistician as well. So it gets it's hard when you're dealing with crime stats to say this is what caused the crime decline. Like, that's why I don't ever like to say this is causal. I could give you one variable that caused all this. There's a lot of relationships. Weather is a huge relationship with crime, believe it or not.
No, I know.
But a lot of people don't want to actually think about it. It's been record hot. Like, I'm in Florida right now, and it was like 107 degrees yesterday. I know Louisiana, it's been really hot. When you have high heat, people go outside, barbecue, have some drinks, people fight, and crime happens.
Yep.
It happens all over the country. When it's cold, people stay inside. So if there is crime that's going on behind closed doors that not always police are aware of. So that is a correlational impact on crime, but I would never say it is hot, therefore crime is going up. But economic stability is a huge one. And as we saw a few years ago, when you have a country that's like mad at police, which we saw in 2020, crime went up. It wasn't just COVID. We had a lot going on with law enforcement. And when people don't trust law enforcement, they tend to not really care to abide by the law, or if they do see a crime happen, they're not really inclined to pick up the phone and call someone. So I think that's huge as well. And we've been seeing more in your metropolitan areas. Police chiefs are much more dedicated to working with community council members to try and establish a rapport, because, I think one of the biggest things is having that community trust you and find you to be legitimate as a law enforcement officer. That's a really big deal, because they will tell you, oh, this is what I heard, this is what I saw. They will give you the tips and the clues that you need to solve crime.
Very important to reiterate that, you're never going to point towards one cause along the way, but it is an overall piece of the puzzle. How do we put a magnifying glass on the pieces of the puzzle that are working?
I think what we can do, and a lot of the research that I do at R Street, is I try and evaluate certain programs that are going on in certain jurisdictions. So I just put out a series on what works in American policing and identifying different strategies that law enforcement agencies were deploying, a lot of it because they are operating on less than ideal personnel levels.
Yep.
So they have to come up with a strategy that's going to keep them safe. First and foremost, cops need to be safe when they go out on patrol, when they go to do their jobs every day. But, if they are in an area that has a lot of mental health calls for service, right, you're going to operate differently in that jurisdiction if you have more mental health calls than if you do violent shooting calls, because you have to respond to the call you're going to. It's not a blanket policy won't work. So, focused deterrence, I always say, is one of the biggest ones, and hotspot policing as well. But then community policing is big. Like NYPD back in the day, we used to have cops on bicycles riding up and down the street, just talking to members of the community, business owners, and trying to let them know, hey, I'm here, I'm present, let me know what you see, what you hear, because we work for you. So I think that a lot of what we're seeing across the country is more dedicated deployment and strategy to identify the problem-oriented policing, and try and come up with how to fix it.
Yeah, Police Academy 4 with Citizens on Patrol. Jillian Snider with the R Street Institute, thank you so much for a couple of very, very insightful minutes. Thank you.
Thank you.
Absolutely. I pulled a Police Academy reference right there. Actually, unbelievably good stuff. And by the way, really, really recommend What Works in American Policing, a strategy by strategy assessment by Jillian Snider. I dug in on this and could not stayed up way too late reading it. But she talks about evidence-based policing. She talks about hotspots and precision policing. She even gets into prediction policing, but not the Minority Report. Quick break for Your Money Now. We'll be right back. Jillian's freaking phenomenal, by the way. Yep. Yeah. Well, as soon as we get to the top of the hour, I'm going to the restroom. Pat Mashburn will be on the phone to start the next hour. No, he will be. Mm-hmm. Oh. All right. 7:55, Talk 107.3 FM, WBRP. Mornings with Brian Haldane rolling right along. We're stacked up with guests next hour, which means right now we're getting you to this day in history.
In 1888, a massive hurricane. We just had a hurricane story, 2 of them yesterday.
We're probably going to have a few of those. It is the season, right?
Yeah, 'tis the season. Well, it tore through southeast Louisiana, bringing 90-mile-an-hour winds to New Orleans, submerging the city, wiped out sugar crops, sank steamboats in the Arbor, proving that Louisiana had been battling massive August storms long before modern era.
Yeah, but that was all due to global warming.
Oh, yeah. Blame it on global warming. 1956. This is pretty cool about Elvis Presley. So he hit #1 on the Billboard charts with his double-sided single, Don't Be Cruel, Hound Dog. Stayed #1 for 11 straight weeks. Here is a fun little nugget about that. It still remains the only single in history to have both sides reach #1.
Oh, wow.
Pretty cool for Elvis.
Yeah, normally B-sides don't do that.
Nope. In 1977, speaking of Elvis, his funeral was today on this day in history.
Okay.
In 1969, going back a little bit, totally forgot about this one, Woodstock ends. Legendary Woodstock Festival. Here is the deal about this one. By Friday night, thousands of eager early arrivals were pushing against the entrance gates. Fearing that they could not control the crowds, the promoters made the decision, opened a concert to everyone free of charge. Close to 500,000 people attended, jamming the roads around New York, 8 miles of traffic.
Closed out with Jimi Hendrix playing the Star Spangled Banner?
I think so.
If I'm right.
Holy
I don't know. I might be wrong about that.
Holy smokes. You know what? All I got, 2017, skipping way ahead, civilian researchers rediscovered the USS Indianapolis, 18,000 feet below the Pacific's surface, 72 years after Japanese torpedoes sunk it.
Yep.
What else you got?
Oh, I got in the political world this day in 1988, George Herbert Walker Bush received the Republican nomination and gave his infamous "Read My Lips, No New Taxes" speech.
Oh.
Yep, that speech was given today. Where at? New Orleans, Louisiana.
Really?
Yeah, Republican National Convention held in the, I believe it was in the Dome. In cinema, this day in 1972, Deliverance was released. And talking about cinematic icons, talking about changing the scope of film and the understanding of the craft and art of film. Talk about a monumental release date. This day in 2006, I don't know if we'll ever have another release date this big. This day in 2006, Samuel L. Jackson said, "We got to get these snakes off this plane."
Oh my God!
Snakes on a Plane released. Snakes on a Plane released today in 2006.
Holy smoke! One of my favorite movies, seriously, because it's just so.
It's
ridiculous.
Sharknado. It's
Yes.
Sharknado level.
All right. Birthdays. Moving ahead, Patrick Swayze did unfortunately pass in 2009, but he does have a birthday today, born in 1952. Also have Christian Slater, born on this day in history. Malcolm Jamal Warner, known from The Cosby Show, later starring in The Resident. He also passed away, but his birthday is 1970. That's all I got. What about you?
1936, Robert Redford. 1934, Roberto Clemente and Andy Samberg was born today as well.
I have no notable deaths.
I did not look for notable deaths because I've been late on this segment.
Yeah, I don't see anything. All right, we have 2 national days. We have National Fajita Day and National Pinot Noir Day.
I don't know which one to take right there. Fajita Day seems out of place.
It does. It just seems random.
Yeah.
Like
Do
random.
you order fajitas in a restaurant?
No.
Because you go home smelling.
Well, yeah, because
You're
going to
go home smelling.
Smell
I know. I don't understand fajita people in a restaurant. I understand if you're doing if you're grilling. If you're doing the cooking of fajitas, and I got a buddy makes some great steak fajitas, but if you're in a restaurant, you're going to bring that smoke to everybody.
Right?
Hour 3's next.
wonderful, though. He is. Thank you so much. Because what I'm going to do, you see how we put it up on the screen? And so.
That's Jared. I'm Pete.
Cool deal. You're Jared.
No, that's Jared.
That's Jared. I'm going to confuse the hell out of y'all.
No.
Which one's the president?
Jared.
Jared. And you are?
Pete. Just
I know, but
board
you
member.
Pete.
Just
Board member. Okay.
Yep. Just on the board.
See, I would have spelled Jared wrong, so I'm glad you spelled it for me. He's like, I'm just a Joe. I'm just a man. I'm just here for moral support.
So this venue happens to be taking place at my home. So
Seriously?
yeah.
No shit.
That-
Because
that's
somebody
what
was.
that's what Jared said. That's what Jared said to do it about.
Pete's here because
Because you don't have any. Because Brittany Rose, y'all know Brittany Rose. She normally goes out every year, and I had a friend of mine because they know. I don't know if Dwayne told you I'm gonna be out there all day.
Good.
Until
Yeah, yeah.
Gordy gets there.
Yeah,
When
that's
Gordy
perfect.
gets there about 5 o'clock, I'm gonna roll.
You ought to start enjoying yourself at that time.
Right. I know. So, anyways,
Hang out.
a friend of mine was like, "Where is this event?" I was like, "It's out in Slaughter." I was like, "Farm and Ranch," and they were like, "Oh, okay, it's a business." I'm like, "I don't know, it's somebody's
Yeah,
house."
you can say Furman Cattle Co. That's what we call it. You
Oh,
Furman,
okay.
Furman Cattle Company, Rockin' the Ranch, however you want to go into it like that. So it's an
But
operating.
has it always been called Rockin' the Ranch, or y'all just started calling it?
We
that?
did that this year. Yeah.
What was it called before?
It's just Guardian Day event. So
Oh, that's why I kept getting, because on air for the longest time I kept saying Guardian Day, but I wasn't technically wrong. It
no,
has
no,
been
no, no,
Guardian
no.
Day.
It is still Guardian Day, but we're just calling it Rockin' the Ranch.
Y'all give it a name.
Because it's a one day deal of hey that we kind
Yeah.
of barn into a venue.
That made sense. That made sense.
So it's literally a operating horse. I know you've never been out there before.
No,
It's a-
I can't wait to see it.
It's a horse barn that we take and we clean out and excuse me. Hey, morning. Hey, morning, Dave. Hey, Pete
If,
Furman.
if y'all want to just chill,
Yeah,
we're gonna
we got
just
one more segment in front of you.
And then we'll get you y'all waters, coffees. Y'all help yourselves.
Oh,
And did Dwayne tell y'all that after we finish the talk, y'all just hang, and then at 9 o'clock I'm gonna take y'all and do Tiger. Okay.
did I see Hunt out there? Did he need me?
I don't know. I don't know why I'm out there.
Okay.
It seemed like he was looking for you.
Yeah.
But I didn't ask him.
.806 Talk 107.3 FM, WBRP, mornings with Brian Haldane, rolling right along. Hour 3 coming your way right now. Brian here with you. Breland producing. We are starting off your 8 o'clock hour at 82 degrees in downtown Baton Rouge as we broadcast live from the 180 Pros studio. 180 Pros, not your IT provider. They're your IT partner. In fact, let me tell you a little bit more about them. If you call them at 225-330-2200, you can learn a lot more about what being an IT partner is all about. It's not just about making sure your network's up and running. It's not just about the cybersecurity. Now, they're top of the line on both of those fronts. But what about on the collaborative end? What about making sure your network is what you need it to be? Making sure your network is not just running, but up to your standards. Making sure that all of your tech needs outside of just the day-to-day management of the company are where you need them to be. Where are you growing into? Where are you going in the social media space? The collaboration into this is all the rage. I mean, is everything that they're like. That this is what separates them from everybody else. Learn more at 180pros.com or call them at 225-330-2200. All right, coming up Saturday is the 1-year anniversary of the explosion at Smitty's Supply. Joining us now, Pat Mashburn. He's been on with us a couple times. He lives a little bit downriver from Smitty's and has been telling the story as it's been evolving over the course of the last year. Pat, good morning. Welcome back. How are you, man?
Doing pretty good, Brian. It's always great to be with you.
Not glad to have you on here. I want to start by retelling the story of the first, like, let's say 48 hours or so, because, like we said, you're a little bit downriver from Smitty's. So things got to you, but it got to you quickly. But at the same time, though, this saga was not immediate, nor was all the fallout afterwards. So just take me back to the beginning.
So I remember it like it was yesterday. It happened on a Friday, and I was actually on my way. Well, I was stuck in traffic in Baton Rouge, and I've been kind of following it, indirectly. But then a neighbor had called me and said, "Hey, you need to get back to your house because that stuff has already reached us." And so when I drove up at about 5:00 in the evening on a Saturday, it smelled like I was at a diesel truck stop.
Goodness gracious.
And it was dark enough to where I couldn't really see. But the next day when I looked at the water, I mean it was like the Exxon Valdez was on the Tangipahoa River. I mean there was oil everywhere, and I mean it was just I was stunned at the concentration of it and how it had just reached me so quickly because. As the course of the river goes, we're about 35 miles downriver from Smitty's, and it reached us in less than 2 days.
Not just reached you in less than 2 days, but stuck around. I mean, this has been an ongoing problem. When did you start to see a break in? Because you were testing basically every day. When did you start to see a break in it going from looking like a full-on river of oil to looking like an oil slick to looking a little bit more like what the Tangipahoa was supposed to look like?
Actually, it was probably about 61 or 62 days because I know this because I numbered every day of every month that I took pictures, and then it didn't really start to thin out until the very first rain.
Mm-hmm.
But a lot of people said, "Well, it's just gonna wash out, and that'll be it." But what I learned about this whole process from Scott Smith, who you've had on before, is that oil, some of it may float away, but the rest of it sinks to the bottom and it gets in your soil, and that's where the term forever chemicals comes into play. I mean, it's done its damage. I mean, I've not seen, since this has happened, I've not seen one fish jump out of the river. I've not seen one bird. I've not seen an alligator or a snake since this happened. Not one.
By comparison, how prevalent were alligators and birds and fish in your part of the river?
You could see them just about. I mean, alligators every once in a while, but birds, fish jumping, you could see those every day.
Right. Well, the birds are going to go where the fish go.
Yeah. So. And the fish have obviously gone somewhere else other than the river.
Right.
I thought it was laughable a couple of days ago. A couple of months after that, I was on my dock just taking samples, and a game warden shows up and was asking me where my fishing license was. I said, "Well, I'm not fishing." And I said, would you really give me a ticket getting fish out of this river right now?
Right. No, I mean, when you see something ecologically happen like that, it does take a good bit of time before nature not just restores itself, but restores the entire ecosystem. Talk with Pat Mashburn about the upcoming 1 year anniversary of this explosion at Smitty Supply. Pat, want to pivot over to when you talk about forever chemicals. The oil's one thing, but it was the response that may have done. And this is in talking to Scott a number of times. The chemicals used in the response to the explosion may prove to have more long-lasting detriment than the oil itself.
That's very true because I don't remember the exact names, but you can find the dollar amount spent on chemicals as soon as the parish was trying to remediate this, and there was like this is in court records in the 21st Judicial District, but about $800,000 of a chemical that was deemed safe was used, and then the forever chemicals, about $2.3 million was used with that, and that was a substance that had been banned by the federal government. So the parish knowingly did this, and that's what is at the heart of a lot of the long-term damage. I mean, people just think just because they don't see it, it doesn't exist.
Right.
But I'm looking out of my second-story window, looking at the river right now, and it's much darker now than it was the day before the spill a year ago.
Now, that being said, though, while it is much darker, you have seen improvement, though, correct?
Cosmetic improvement. I mean, while you don't see the oil slicks, you don't see how far down the forever chemicals have gotten into the soil.
Well, no, naturally, and to be clear, to be fair, there
Yes.
have been no negative tests of groundwater, no test of anything making it to the groundwater or anything like that. Like the drinking water. I mean, just to be clear on all fronts, we don't want to cause false alarm here or false panic because there has been nothing negative tested coming out of your faucet, right?
So far, no. But I've got. Well, let me address that specifically.
Okay.
The parish has not been willing to test anything that I have, and I have 2 months worth of stuff that came out of my faucet. That came out of the river. So you've got two different types of samples that I took. But since this has happened, I've not heard one word from my parish president or my parish representative. Not since this has happened. Nobody that lives on the river has heard anything from their parish representative or the parish president. It's as if everything happened just outside of that 1 mile radius of Roseland.
All right, now, we only got about 3 minutes left with Pat
Sure.
Mashburn talking about the 1 year anniversary, upcoming 1 year anniversary of the Smitty's explosion. Talk about that for just a second as well, Pat, because that was a big point of contention at the time. Was all eyes were on the immediate perimeter, and for good reason. You want to have a lot of eyes on the immediate perimeter, but things flow downstream. So, how tough was that to raise a voice to pay attention to what was outside of that immediate perimeter?
Well, I mean, it was. The blowback when I was starting to post pictures, people couldn't grasp what they were seeing, and what I was trying to tell them is that's happened 35 miles downriver. That's not just within that one area.
Right.
I tried to bring that to the attention. The only entities that paid attention to this were your station, Channel 8 in New Orleans, Channel 9 in Baton Rouge. You guys were the ones that brought this to the forefront.
Mm-hmm.
And we are forever grateful for that. Otherwise, it would have been like nothing had ever happened.
Well, no, I mean, because this is what we do better than anybody else in the world is in the oil and gas space. And this has been our bread and butter, our lifeline for generations in Louisiana. So we need to do it better than everybody else and obviously raise a red flag when something goes awry along the way. To get things back towards some level of normalcy. I want to get back to the political end of this because you said
Sure.
you hadn't heard from any local representation. Who did you hear from?
Nobody locally, not one single politician, and not even ones that weren't connected. Which I'm more concerned about my parish representative.
Mm-hmm.
I've not heard one word from her. I've not heard one word from Parish Representative Robbie Miller. Yet I've seen my parish representative in a picture with a board of director of Smitty's.
Mm-hmm.
That tells me all I need to know about where that person stands. And that tells us on the river where our parish representative stands. So politically, not heard one word, not even from the parish president.
Unreal. I mean, over the course of an entire year, for that matter, as well. Last thing. Oh, go ahead.
So I look at it this way. Scott Smith probably lives about 2,500 miles away from here.
Mm-hmm.
Yet we on the river have seen him more than our parish elected officials. That is the most concern. That is a very concerning aspect to all of us. It really is. In fact, well, I'll just leave it there. But that concerns all of us. They've had multiple town hall meetings in other parts of the parish, but not one single town hall meeting in this area. Now, there is a town hall on Saturday in Roseland, and Scott is going to be there marking the 1 year anniversary. Okay. But of all the town hall meetings we've had concerning the Smitty's oil spill, we've not seen one parish government official present.
Unbelievable. With a year in the rear view. In the meanwhile, greatly appreciate the time as always. He is Pat Mashburn. We're going to get you back on in short order because I know we have other things to talk about aside from this topic. There are other topics we'll be covering, but we'll talk to you soon, okay?
It's always an honor, Brian.
Yep, thank you. Appreciate it. All on this side of the phone. All right, we are due up for a quick break. When we come back, we're talking a little Guardian Day. Don't forget, 8:35, we got DC Current presented by the Louisiana Association of Business and Industry. Before we take that break, let me remind you that on August 27th, we're taking the show on the road. We will be in Ascension Parish at the Lamar Dixon Rev Center. Tell you what we got going on out that way. To be short, it's the Ascension Chamber Business Expo. Going to have more than 100 exhibitors out on the floor. Going to have a jam-packed morning and early afternoon from the breakfast buffet and networking all the way through the Taste of Ascension happy hour. Keynote speaker along the way. You've got the, like I said, the organization and exhibition. Ascension Partners and Education Recognition is going to go on. There's going to be breakout sessions. Going to be a lot going on, and we'll be bringing it all to you right here on Talk 107.3 FM in 2 different shows. My show 6 to 9, and then another from noon to 2 out with the Ascension Chamber. Quick break. We're talking Guardian Day next.
Good. Good seeing you.
Y'all gonna be on these two?
Outside.
I'm gonna move over to this one. To the corner. Yeah. Well, I'm gonna look around here because we're always on camera. So
Okay.
we don't get that super wide shot, and we don't have multiple cameras, so we can't go with a 2-shot and one.
Right.
So we're a very low rent organization.
That's
Operation.
pretty. I mean, y'all keep it low key. I'll give you that.
Try to.
Oh, 180 Pro is nice.
Do what?
One of our sponsors.
No kidding.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, how do we set this up? Like that?
Just pull it there like that, and then a little bit closer to you. We'll be all over it.
Y'all must be running around like crazy this week.
It's a little bit. I mean, we
It's that week.
it's been fair.
Y'all been planning this.
Absolutely.
So it's getting all the ducks to be placed.
If you heard the story of how our first year went,
Trial by fire.
Night and day.
let's just say our venue didn't pan out. What do we have? A week? 2 weeks?
I think it was 2
like
weeks.
2 weeks.
2 weeks. Yeah.
The original venue we had planned didn't pan out,
Oh,
and this is the whole story of how.
So my brother got married at our. Well, he got married and then has a reception at our barn. Well, there were some pictures circulating on Facebook about, hey, Furman Barn, East Feliciana. Wait, where is that at now? Who do you know?
Bent was born, and it's been downhill ever since.
821 Talk 107.3 FM WBRP Mornings with Brian Haldane, rolling right along. Guardian Day is on the way. Speaking of, I believe it's this Saturday, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah,
yes,
a
sir.
lot going on this Saturday, to be sure. But before we talk about Guardian Day, I need a quick second to remind you about One Bath and Closets. OneBathAndClosets.com is the website. You spell it out, O-N-E, OneBathAndClosets.com, or just give David Duvall and his team a call at 400-8005. 400-8005. That's the phone number. Of course, it's area code 225. Take a look around your bathroom. Is it just old, dingy, dated, not built for you? That old tub, it just looks awful right about now. Maybe you moved into a house that was built in the 70s and you've got like a horrible color scheme, like a green toilet or something. Time to give your bathroom a revamp. Time to make your bathroom your bathroom. Hit up the website, scroll the pictures, explore the space, take a look at what's possible, and then give David a call. I've done this personally and have been thrilled with the results. You can as well. Same's true with your closets, by the way. If you're not maximizing that space in your closets, you can be. Give David Duvall and his team a call, 225-400-8005 for One Bath and Closets. All right, we've got Jared Daniel and Pete Furman in from Guardian Day. Welcome back. How are y'all doing?
Outstanding. We really appreciate you having us.
No,
again.
no, glad to have you on. How many years in are we on Guardian Day?
5.
We're on
It's our
number
5th
5
annual.
now.
Yep.
Oh, are we allowed to say 5? Ask Jaden.
Uh-oh. Oh, gosh.
Yeah, that's
canceled.
It's not getting old. It's not getting old anytime soon.
Cancel it.
All right. So, what is Guardian Day for those who are unfamiliar?
Man, we started this a few years ago, 5 years ago, matter of fact, right? So Miss Lori Klug, who was an employee here, right, got sick, and we needed a way to raise some funds for her and her family, and that quickly morphed into, we found a lot of first responders that needed to raise some money for some illnesses that they were facing and injuries and those types of things. So Guardian Day was born. It's a one-day event at a really, really great venue that we found that we're going to let Pete talk about in a second here, hopefully. But it's awesome. It's a car show, concert, full day of fun, and we raise a lot of funds and help a lot of families out.
All right, Pete Furman's with us, so you're gonna hear that name when you talk about the venue. Go ahead.
Yeah, so this is our barn that we basically we one day a year we take a horse arena and a barn and turn it into a venue for a one-day event, concert, fundraiser. So essentially the months leading up to it, we're cleaning up, emptying out, and
right.
Moving horses out and moving people in type deal, right? So it's a good time. We have a few big fans in there and porta-cools going and trying to get the air moving through and keep everybody comfortable throughout the day. Mm-hmm. We understand Saturday's going to be hot, but it's going to be a party, and we're going to be there.
All right. Let's go back to the rundown and the list of events. Start us off with the car show. What can one expect on that front?
Yeah, so Southern Muscle American Car and Truck Club. That's a mouthful. I think that's their whole name. But they really come out, bring tons of vehicles out there. Is John putting his three-wheelers in?
Absolutely.
So it's a car show plus three-wheelers and lots of other different odds and ends. But that's the free morning, open to the public. If you want to register for the car show, get in touch with Southern Muscle. But it's wide open.
And then the car show walks us up to, we got music throughout the day?
Yep, music throughout the day. We start at 10 o'clock in the morning with Mason shows. We run through Honky Tonk Playboys. They've been there every year for us, so we really appreciate them coming back out again. And then Ben Ragsdale, Elizabeth Shar, Waylon Kimball, I-10 Bound Band, and Lord, I hope I'm not missing anybody.
Mark Chestnut.
Top it all off with the big guy, right?
Yeah. So walk us up to the headliner real quick.
Yeah, so we want everybody to make sure they're there for but at least if you're not going to come out in the morning, you're going to just come to the concert. Get in the door by 4 o'clock. We have an awesome silent auction and live auction. The live auction items are wild this year. So I think turkey hunts, deer hunts, all kinds of fun stuff that you can bid on.
Okay.
And that's a huge piece of our fundraiser. I think it's out in the public now, but somebody donated a '66 Mustang also. So,
oh my word,
crazy stuff that we're going to have on this live auction. But you're going to want to get there early,
okay,
and be ready for all that. So,
okay, wow, very very cool stuff. And yeah, it's always nice on the live auction front when you've got events and when you've got things that have. I mean, a '66 Mustang, that's crazy.
Yeah.
But when you've got events that like people can get hyped about,
Absolutely.
that's
no doubt,
big time events. I want to go back to the Guardian Day, like the genesis of it. And I mean, I still miss Lori greatly. But go back to the genesis of it and talk to me a little bit about that transformation from making it from the one day to that eye-opening of how much it's needed and how the funds are benefiting.
Yeah, we were talking. Pete and I were talking yesterday, but we started literally in a barn, right? We're still in a barn, but I think we had like headlights on our truck shining in for the concert venue, and now we're this full professional production deal, and so it's really cool. But that has allowed us to expand the bank account and help. This year alone, even pre-fundraiser, we've already been able to help 50-something thousand. I think we're over 50,000 at this point, and something like 7 to 10 families. So we're losing count, which is good, right?
Yeah, that is.
So
a
we're
good
being
thing.
able to help a lot of folks. This year, we have a family who, as a deputy, was diagnosed with a brain tumor. Firefighter that has a cancer, and the list goes on and on and on. So, police, fire, EMS, any first responder, we help the entire capital area region. I see you have the list of parishes there, but
do.
if you asked me to recite them, I would.
And Brian, a focus is, of course, outside of line of duty, right? So things that happen in their personal lives that are outside of line of duty that we can step in and basically, say an insurance deductible or need some special care or just need, these folks can't work extra duty when they're battling an illness or their wife is battling an illness. So the organization steps in at that time and says, hey, we're here to help. We're here to support you. We appreciate what you're doing for the community, and we want to show our appreciation in this way.
Well, it's hard because that's an important point is outside of the line of duty. Why outside of the line of duty?
Yeah, so the majority of these folks, like I said, are working extra duty. So if your wife has cancer, you can't work extra duty, and you need to go back and forth to Houston with her or whatever that may be. So at that time, we're going to step up and we're going to say, hey, what can we do to help? We're going to identify some needs you have. Maybe it's an insurance deductible. Maybe it's just a traveling expenses. What can this organization do to show you that we appreciate the service you're doing for our community? So these are the guardians of our community. That's the emphasis on the name, right? The namesake guardians. So we're stepping in. We're saying, hey, we appreciate what you're doing for us. Let us show you in monetary value what we can do to help you.
Well, I guess the genesis of my question was beyond the outside of the line of duties, because that's not what's covered. Like they'll be there's help on the job end from the job from what happens on the job.
Correct.
But this is when you're working at detail, when you're going above and beyond to make ends meet, because if from time to time that's got to happen. Shouldn't even say from time to time.
So let me
that's
add
just the
in
nature
here.
of the whole thing.
We those of us that started this organization, and certainly with the help of the Furmans, we're all first responders who have lived this. Right, we know the salary's not all that great. Line of duty death benefits; those are unfortunately great benefits. Right, so we've dealt with that here in Baton Rouge a lot. We noticed the gap, and especially with the Klug situation. Right, so the gap was, the salaries aren't there. We're having to make a lot of trips, and then we noticed that over and over and over again within the first responder community, because we lived it also. So we need this help. We need this gap. The agency's there for your line of duty injury, but this is outside of that, and we're helping their families as well, not just this first responder themselves that might be suffering from something.
Coming up Saturday, details one more time. Where can folks go to get tickets? Where can they go? Just give us all the pertinent details.
So this Saturday, doors open at 10. It's all day. Car show first. That's free to the public, and then the concert in the afternoon. $10 right now. Go to guardianday.org, click on the tickets link, and get your tickets. It's $15 at the door.
Guardianday.org is the website. We'll put that link in when we post this up on demand. Guys, thank y'all so much for coming in, and all the best this Saturday.
Thank you for having
Thanks,
us.
appreciate
Absolutely. Here's news.
All right. That's halfway painless.
That's good. That's good.
I can't believe somebody donated a Mustang.
Yeah, that was neat that you were able to get that in
When
there.
did that happen? That just happened?
Yeah,
A couple weeks ago?
Week or so ago.
Damn. No, we got to talk about that. On the Tiger interview.
Yeah, that'll work.
So,
Yeah,
didn't get to go into that a ton, but Southern Muscle, we partner with them every year. They benefit a
I
charity
met him,
also.
so I had a remote at Rouse's out.
Mr. Tommy Owen?
Yes.
Yeah.
I had a remote, and I was at the one in Central when they first opened. And he came up to me and he goes, Miss Breland, and he's like, let me introduce myself. And he goes, Gordy Rush, and he goes, I know you, but you don't know me. And he was telling me all about his car. I know, and he's so friendly.
He's nice.
Gordy's
He's genuine.
doing a live auction again. So.
I know.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah, I'm emceeing.
Well, and
Gordy's doing
So Ronnie Davis and
we also
Mr.
forgot to
Tommy
mention she's
Owen,
there
they're
all day
big
for us, too.
in the car show deal.
Yeah, they benefit a charity as well. So that's it's always great to help an organization who's there to do the same thing, and which their charity this year is
this Saturday.
Thanks for having us.
it's a military charity. I can't think of the name. I was just looking at it the other day, but they help out veterans.
Folds of Honor or Blue Star Moms?
Neither one, I don't think. No, I'm gonna have to look it up.
Those are the two ones that hit up the most.
Veterans Brothers, something Veterans Brotherhood.
Oh, I don't know that one.
Yeah.
Have y'all ever heard of Restoring Responders?
I have.
I'm about to do some stuff with them.
Okay.
That's the Mustang.
Oh, let me see the message. Show me the Mustang.
Where have I?
I love a good
Okay, what
classic
movie
car.
had a '66 Mustang?
Just put a.
Are you thinking of that? You're not thinking of that one that had a mind of its own. That one, huh?
No,
that wasn't
that
that.
not.
That wasn't that. That wasn't a-
Christine was the name
yeah,
of that
that
one?
wasn't a
Yeah.
Mustang. What movie had a '66 Mustang, or had a Mustang? You're saying?
No, like that.
Baton Rouge Soldier Outreach.
Oh yeah. No, they're the ones that round up supplies.
Yeah.
I've done stuff with them in the past as well.
That Mustang looking good.
That'd be fun.
Lord.
You need to stick around for that.
All right. So I used to work at Henderson Auction.
Oh, yeah.
For about 2 years, and I was there when Jeff Henderson was like, "Hey, I've got a wild idea." And
Cars.
I'm like, "Oh Lord,
Yeah. Yeah, I know
and
where you're
I
going.
said, "What you got?" And he goes, "Well, we're gonna get into the car auction." I said, "We're gonna compete with Bono."
Right.
I was like, "Okay." So
And they're still doing that.
They
right?
are,
Yeah,
and they
yeah,
still are.
yeah.
So I was the original brains and the help behind doing Henderson
For the cars.
for the cars. So our very first one, we had to go scout out venues. I had to learn how to market in Birmingham. It was like it was fun.
So
that's
y'all
when
are-
I got into cars.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah,
How many of those do they do a year now, though?
one a year.
One a
Because
year.
it would just be too much for Jeff Green and too much for Jeff Henderson. It would just be too much.
Jeff Green helps him do that. They team up.
Yeah, Green. Is it Jeff Green?
I don't know him.
The
I don't know. I know Mr. Jeff Henderson just through
Jeff
years with
yes,
construction
yes, yes.
auctions. We
um,
sold some things, bought some things through him.
And I'm like, we really want to go into the collectible. He goes, I do. And I'm like,
You know, you say that. That's probably somebody that would love to support this, and I've never hit him up.
reach out to Henderson.
Yes.
Reach out to Henderson.
Well, and that's one of the things I'd love to mention too is just all the partners that come to support this. You know, sponsorships. That's where the majority. Truthfully, it's a one-day event. We want to have a good crowd there, but all the money comes in through the sponsors. You know what I'm saying? That's where the
They bring all their employees
You
and
know.
their crowds with them and everything, so it's awesome.
we have a Apache Industrial, MMR, ISC. You know,
I was seeing on your website, y'all little list this month. That's amazing.
yeah. Everybody shows up.
Thanks for reminding me. I got to update the website.
Yeah.
Oh, Lord.
No, they're all. I think they're all back in. At least the majority of them.
I was like, I don't know if we're on there or not. Do you have our logo?
Yeah.
Okay.
Y'all are the stage sponsors.
Okay.
You
I'm
said
sure
there's a
we
lot of
are. I
stuff
haven't
going on
looked.
Saturday.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a barbershop bash going on at Webb right
Y'all
over
just
here.
having-
Yeah.
We'll be
I've
like in
got
about
a,
20-ish minutes. Okay.
It's a bunch of little things.
We both
Yeah.
have a
Yeah.
10 o'clock.
I'm thinking. Frank,
Everybody,
yeah.
everybody getting their shit in
Okay,
before
cool.
football
10 minutes
season.
from here.
Exactly.
Are y'all doing
That's the
TV as
weekend.
well?
That's the
Yeah.
weekend.
Not this year.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I've got a thing at my church. Like it just
Need
it's,
to hit it up a little earlier next year.
Well, that's why I
know.
threw in. I said, hey, it's gonna be hot. It's gonna be undercover. We're gonna have fans. We're gonna have portables. Maybe that.
Gotcha.
yeah, like
I
so
know.
Saturday I'll be at Our Lady of Mercy for like a mini retreat for one of the
Right,
ministries that I'm in,
right.
and then
We
Saturday
do it
night
for
St.
the love of
Joseph's
it.
has their back to
Yes.
school dance.
Okay,
with
you're involved
parents.
in Mercy, obviously.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, good. Okay.
yeah.
Hey, Troy,
Yeah,
good
that's
morning.
that's where my sisters got married. With
I'm
St.
doing
Alphonsus.
good. How are you
Okay.
doing?
Okay,
Yeah.
that's
My
Good
brother-in-law
deal. Look,
was,
we are actually just coming out of
my sister,
commercial, so
a couple
30
of their
seconds,
kids.
okay?
So,
Okay.
you know what grade, huh?
well, they're graduated now.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Now they're in high school. So.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah,
gonna
we just-
grab y'all 20 minutes,
Okay.
30 minutes.
Thank you.
Eight 836 Talk 107.3 FM, WBRP, mornings with Brian Haldane, rolling right along. Thanks again to the guys from Guardian Day for hopping on board. Let me take a quick moment before we get to Congressman Troy Carter to remind you about Guarantee Health Solutions. What makes Guarantee Health Solutions different? By the way, if you're in the medical space, you need to pay attention here because Guarantee Health Solutions has been bridging the gap between healthcare and hospitality. And what makes them different is they don't work like a vendor. They kind of embed themselves in your office, become one with their partners, and protect the integrity of your brand, of your business. They protect the integrity of your relationship with your patients and your team members. Most firms will just, hand off a report and be on their way. Best of luck. Here's our advice. Not with Guarantee Health Solutions. They've built out a fantastic 4-pillar program for this. If you are, running an urgent care or primary care, if you run a hospital, if you are Doc McStuffins, give Guarantee Health Solutions a look, guaranteehealth.com. All right, it's time for DC Current. Welcoming back Congressman Troy Carter. How are you, sir?
I am doing fine, sir. How are you?
As we inch closer to football season, I just tend to get better. I mean, maybe that's just me.
Did you go to the Saints game this Sunday?
No, I did not. I was listening on the radio for most of it. I was out and about, so I had it on the radio.
It just felt good to be back in the Superdome, although we didn't win.
Nah.
But if you look at it comparatively, the last 3 quarters really didn't matter. First quarter is what mattered, and we excelled.
Yes.
We had our starters in, or our reasonable second strings in.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what you need to compare what happened and what the team looks like. I'm encouraged. I'm encouraged. We were very strong in every statistic in the first quarter when we had our major players in. Then toward the end, we had third, fourth stringers, and that's a good practice squad. But the ones that will be on the turf on Sunday look pretty darn good.
Yeah, I never worry about the final score of a preseason game. It's you tell me something that happens in the first half. And look, we had a lot of defensive highlights early on, and Zach Wilson had some highlights, making himself an argument to be maybe he should be the second string quarterback. So, I walked away feeling really, really positive. Hard not to.
Yep.
We got a lot of ground to cover here. I really want to leave this is kind of out of left field, but we had some news breaking over the course of this week. How involved are you in this Port Nola edition? This international, groundbreaking, game-changing, world recognition with the advancements of Port Nola out in St. Bernard Parish. How involved has your office been in the process of making this a reality for business in Louisiana?
Yeah, well, we have been. I've been a huge supporter of our port throughout my years in government. As a member of the council, as a member of the state legislature, now in Congress, have worked tirelessly to get resources and funding to make sure that our port is as competitive as it can be and to reclaim our rightful place as one of, if not the, leaders in cargo and container ship and having the ability to really maximize the breadth and weight and utility of our Mississippi River. Mm-hmm. So, I have worked closely with local and state government, certainly spending time with the community who have registered some concerns and trying to balance those for the greater outcome of what it means for our port to be number one again in jobs, in economy, in opportunity. It's a win-win scenario, and this is a huge win for the state of Louisiana and for our entire region, quite frankly.
Yes, and we're seeing a number of economic wins here in Louisiana, and I'm always curious as to, the backstory behind it, as far as, what levels of cooperation there are.
It's never as easy as it looks on game day.
No.
There's a lot of work behind the curtains. There are a lot of legitimate concerns that we must, and I emphasize must, always take into consideration because communities matter and their concerns matter.
Yes.
So, there's a lot of legwork, a lot of meetings, and a lot of negotiating to ensure that you're creating win-win scenarios, rather it's environmental, traffic, lighting, or what have you. But at the end of the day, this is a win-win, and I think it's a huge, huge victory for our region.
Congressman Troy Carter, our guest. This is DC Current, presented by the Louisiana Association of Business and Industry. LABI.org is their website if you want to learn more about our state's Chamber of Commerce. All right, let's rewind the clock way back to when you were in the state legislature. You got on this path and created an Office of Women's Health, and now you're looking to replicate that on a federal level. Tell me about it.
Yes, one of my last official acts as a member of the state Senate was to advance the Office of Women's Health, which is now law and standing up in state Louisiana. As I was exiting, I passed it on to my dear friend, who is the president pro tem of the Senate now, Regina Barrow, to get it over the goal line, and it is now law. And now I'm taking the next step of that, which was very great and successful for Louisiana, in opening now State Office of Women's Health Support and Expansion Act. And what this will do is this legislation creates a $55 million grant program. So all states across the country will have the ability to have an Office of Women's Health. Why is that important? Because investment on the front side to preventive care saves literally millions of dollars on the back end.
Yep.
When we have preventive care, when we are dealing with breast cancer and cervical cancer and those issues that are more prone in females, we are saving the system and taking much needed pressure off of the system, but more important, we're saving lives. Preventive care is significantly cheaper than curative care. But unfortunately, we spend more time seeing people in emergency rooms than we do in preventive circumstances. So in this case, this creating the Women's Health Support Expansion Act is an opportunity for us to support the expansion of women's health offices throughout the country, giving the attention and the health care of individuals the attention that deserves. This bill makes a model available nationwide, giving states resources to build or strengthen offices that address reproductive and mental health, chronic diseases, disparities too many women, especially women of color, and those in rural communities continue to face. This is not something that is just theoretical or hyperbole. Man, this is real. And I believe, and so do my colleagues in a bipartisan way who joined me in this effort, believe that this is something that will save lives and money, a real win-win opportunity.
You said something important right there that I don't want to overlook. You said to create or strengthen. Because I can't imagine a world where we don't already have at least a handful of states that have this. We have one right now in Louisiana. Does your bill work in tandem with those that have already created their offices, or would offices that are already created have to make changes in order to keep up with what your bill's doing?
No. Basically, what it would do, where offices are in place, this provides funding for them to expand. And if you don't have one, the first step is to create one with the enabling model legislation that I drafted in Louisiana. Model it, and then once it's in place, you apply for and access grants to expand. So it doesn't require any retooling other than this provides funding for expansion.
We got Congressman Troy Carter on with us. I want to pivot over to another topic that I know has been near and dear to your heart because I see it quite frequently. In fact, I was going to say way too often, but you can't be too often. You have teamed up with Congressman. Let's see, it's Neil Dunn and it's Angie Craig working on improving care for youth act. Talk about mental health care for children. Tell me all about it.
Let me tell you, as we go through our current laws, whether it's local, state, or federal in this case, we often find such common sense errors that block access to resources. Here's a case in point where if a child's taken into the hospital for one issue and they're determined to have another issue, Medicaid would only allow them to bill for the primary issue that you were there for, meaning the child or his parent has to leave, come back, and wait for another appointment to identify the second ailment. Case in point usually is a kid goes in for one issue and they're determined to have some mental help needed. Well, then they can't get that service because they can't bill for two needs at the same time, which is absolutely ridiculous. Under the current Medicaid policy, healthcare providers generally may only bill for one service per patient a day. Mm-hmm. As a result, children visit primary care physician is identified as needing behavioral or mental health, they're turned away. What this bill will do is, as I stated, it's common sense. No cost fix that removes a bureaucratic barrier standing between the patient and integrated care model that providers already want to deliver. This just takes away the bureaucratic mess. When a doctor identifies a need, behavioral health support, that patient shouldn't have to wait. They should be able to see the provider right now down the hall, get the care they need. This is a life-saving care, common sense measure that I believe, once again, will save money, save lives, and make our system more efficient. Very proud of this.
Yes, it does make common sense on the front end, but my conservatism is going to pop up with a question along the way, and let's talk oversight and guardrail.
I have a very conservative Republican co-sponsoring this with me, but go ahead.
No, oversight. You know where I'm going. Oversight and guardrails. I mean, what is being done to make sure this doesn't turn into an all-you-could-diagnose buffet?
Well, I mean, listen. You cannot cure the world of every ill, every person that attempts to beat the system, but of all of the possible fraudulent acts that someone can commit, probably the least of which a child goes into the hospital with their mother, father, or guardian, and is determined that this kid has a secondary issue, and you have the capacity in your facility to see them. I mean, it still has to be justified. You can't create an issue. Who wants to go see a doctor and say, I've had mental health needs when you really don't? What's the benefit to the patient? I mean, there's none. So while I certainly appreciate and I share your view that we should always be cognizant and conscious about loopholes or ways for people to abuse the system, this is one where I think baked into it is a natural prohibition and discouraging of such an effort.
I just don't want to see a good idea spoiled. That's all.
Hey, listen, that's fair, and I appreciate. Listen, I always appreciate the devil's advocacy because the questions that you ask are questions that we get in committee, questions that we get on the floor. So it's a very legitimate question, and this is a good sparring match to prepare for floor action. So thanks.
He is Congressman Troy Carter. We'll talk to you next week, sir. Always appreciate the time.
God bless you, my friend. Have a fantastic week.
You do the same. Here's your money now. I got so scared when I asked him that 45 seconds ago. He did not filibuster today. So those that don't know, Congressman Carter, if I've got 3 minutes left, wait.
Oh, I'm editing.
Why was that on? Oh, are you editing from Facebook?
No, I'm editing from Adobe.
Could you hear me on air say I got so... Am I on air?
You're on the program line.
Then how...
It kept recording after. Like, I hit stop.
Oh, okay. Whew. All right. So what I'll do is, like, if I've got 3 minutes left in the segment, I'll tell him we have 60 seconds left. And he'll still go over. And I absolutely love him for it. It's become a running bit. It's become a running gag, and I love him. But, like...
No, I didn't hit stop recording.
Okay, yeah. But, like, with 45 seconds to go, I'm like, Brian, you got to bring this up. You've got to bring this up. And, yeah, he kept it dialed in.
Put the line out.
I know. But I was like, shit, now we're going to go to 53.
I'm on your cue to be like...
You know. Charlie horse in my stomach? No, I get Charlie horses in my calves. Yep.
Have we ever had him in studio? I know he's District 1, but okay.
He's District 2.
District 2 president, yeah. Lord.
8:55 Talk 107.3 FM WBRP mornings with Brian Haldane rolling right along. Man, this Louisiana International Terminal, this Port Nola story. I know it's in St. Bernard Parish and it's not here, but like it just the repercussions are going to be beyond amazing. If you're wondering about like the actual layout of it, like where it actually is, Port Nola, I'm reading from their website, Port Nola has acquired more than 1,200 acres of land in Violet, Louisiana, of which approximately 400 acres are expected to be utilized for future container terminal, supporting infrastructure, and designed buffer zones. Their website's really fantastic, and it's spelling out what it's going to look like along the river and whatnot. The terminal layout may continue to evolve as Port Nola advances through the environmental review process. So it's not like a done deal just yet as to what the final everything is going to look like. But our news partners at Louisiana Radio Network are all over the story this morning, talking about the getting the permit from the Corps of Engineers. They talk with Port Nola President and CEO Beth Branch, saying the current terminal's location prevents it from being able to accommodate vessels with large container loads. Cut 7, please.
Where we operate today is on the other side, upriver, from the Crescent City Connection Bridge. That bridge has a height restriction when we have large container vessels coming into port.
So this would move them further downriver. And if you think about like St. Bernard Parish, and I know where the current Port Nola in St. Bernard is, right by the Chalmette battlefield, go further downriver past Miro into Violet to get there. It really does open things up for them. The branch goes on to say the new terminal is going to be built. Talk about where it's going to be built and why it can accommodate much larger ships. Cut 8.
Today, the size of a container ship that comes upriver to our current location, they carry 7,000 containers on board. The new container terminal will be able to handle up to 24,000 containers.
The which, I mean, obviously, everything that goes into that, like as far as increased, size of boats and how much river they take up to get from point A to point B. One more from Branch, talk about the new terminal is going to be a major game changer for the overall Port of New Orleans infrastructure. What is this going to do, like, as far as making New Orleans more of a logistical hub?
New Orleans is so strategically located, being not just on the Mississippi River and all the connectivity that brings, but most importantly, there's no other deep water port in the entire country that is served by all 6 national railroads. Right.
Now, you do have to, I mean, even Violet, Louisiana is pretty far inland as far as this is concerned. I mean, it is still a decent stretch to get up the river to Violet. And it's not that much more of a stretch to get to the existing Port Nola, but like she said, it addresses a number of major concerns with what you can get ships underneath, while at the same time getting them to you. I mean, from start to finish. I'm fired up about it. That's another just huge announcement to where we're seeing every corner of the state, every nook and cranny of the state. We're seeing some level of economic development growing for the future. Some level of economic development is going to be growing more jobs, and just more jobs at a higher rate of pay for a better lifestyle for all of us. I'm here for all of it as well. Which, by the way, tees up what's coming up on Thursday and Friday when we're going to be at Legislator. That's going to be a lot of talk about how we continue on this path, continue with this momentum, from the industry world up and down the river to everything else that's going on in and around the state. That'll be coming your way Thursday evening 4 to 6 and Friday 6 till 9 right here on Talk 107.3 FM. All right, we got to get Moon Griffons next. We'll see you later.